I see it.
Perfect. We'll count in Tim. Are you ready, Jesse?
Almost. I'm checking YouTube. Just...
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Make sure that house isn't on fire.
YouTube looks good.
Okay. We'll count in.
Where's my chat? Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. 3, 2.
Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 307, recorded on December 3rd, 2020. On tonight's episode, we discuss Doom Eternal, finally coming to the Switch, Fortnite Season 5, Kratos, Nintendo pulling the plug on Super Mario Maker for the Wii U, and some quick Game Award predictions. Jesse, you know what to do.
What's up, everybody? It is Nintendo Dads episode 307. It is December the 3rd, 2020, and baby, it's cold outside. Unless you're here in the South, where we're experiencing what we like to call fool summer.
Oh, yeah, fun.
Yeah,
ironically enough, we got frost today.
We don't have, it snowed here on Monday, and then the next day it was 65 degrees.
Wow.
So welcome to Tennessee. Joining me on the show tonight, along with our normal cast and crew, is Derek Bittner of Good Vibe Games.
Yep.
I said that right?
Good Vibes Gaming, yes.
Good Vibes Gaming. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. It's brand new. I know trust me, it's really easy to say Game Explain still. It's still very fresh in everybody's minds.
But Derek's our guest tonight. And joining me also on the show, Tim Off, all the way from the great state of industry, Michigan, not Minnesota. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Of course, like I say all the time, this is my Friday. It's the beginning of the Friday, right? Is be able to get together with you guys and talk video games, especially when there's a bunch of stuff going on, and especially when we have a special guest on too. So, I'm. How are you doing, Marty?
I am. I'm good. I told you guys earlier on the pre-show. There's not been enough of me to go around for work this week. There's been a ton of stuff to do, and I've got a headache. So, hot take here: salty opinions incoming. So I don't know.
That's what happens when you have snow.
Yeah. That's what it is. It just set me off at the beginning of the week. Speaking of snow, from the Great White North, Justin Masson, how are you, buddy?
What's going on, eh? It's a fantastic day up here in the Great White North. I'm going to be honest, we don't have snow, at least where I am right now. It's hot. I should say it's hot. It's not hot enough for cargo shorts or anything like that, but it's comfortable, you know? A little dip in the hot tub outside, that kind of weather. It's beautiful. I'm excited to be here, though. Excited.
And apparently the rest of us didn't get the memo about dressing up.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the thing. Like, for those of you that can't see, this is great in the Twitch stream. This is a Nintendo Christmas jacket. Right, sent to us by Nintendo.
Oh wow!
They actually didn't do that. I just lied. But I bought it from a shop that sent it to me after I paid for it.
Nintendo sent it to the shop, and you bought it from the shop, and they sent it.
They did. Yeah.
If you cut out the middleman,
it's all right.
Nintendo sent it to you.
Matter of fact, Doug Bowser directly sent it to me, signed by Reggie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm impressed.
Oppo Suits. This episode, Nintendo Dad, sponsored by Oppo Suits. Where's the brand sticker? It's over here. Oppo Suits. There we go. Right? Come on in. Let's get that done.
Hashtag sponsored, not sponsored.
Sorry, what was that?
Did matching pants come with that?
It did, and tie.
Oh,
and
wow.
tie. Yeah, it's a nice. I'm not gonna lie. It's a nice suit, actually.
I'm a little disappointed we didn't get the full package.
Family friendly. Jesse Waldeck, how are you?
Pretty good.
That's what she said.
I like
my God, sorry.
I like how he changed the topic on there. Yeah, when that month in Game Explain got also everyone confused. The old crew moved on to a different show. John's with Nintendo Life. The guy from now I had it in the head. Now it's gone. Something Realms. So the Zelda channel is now with Game Explain.
Yeah, I think he came from Source Gaming. You're talking about Triss, or are you talking about Joey?
Joey,
yes. I think it came from
Commonwealth Realms.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the big hiring process, and it just kind of worked out because some, as some of us left, like only one was planning to come on as just an extra crew, and then as more left, is like, oh, we can just pull from the people that were applying before and bring in more people. So it kind of worked out.
So, and so it's still weird to hear voices on channels that I'm not used to hearing them.
I can imagine. I can definitely imagine, but it's best time to try to set out on my own. Well, not on my own since I have Ash and Steve with me, but set out on a new venture. Got a kid now, officially Nintendo dad. So there you go.
It's been a pretty big year for Derek, right? It seems like you've had a lot of changes in 2020, and that's. Are you like how's that landing with you?
Going well so far. It's still a transition state. I trying to get everything to nice, successful, but mainly when it comes to Good Vibes Gaming. Like we have thanks to John, we have a nice head start since he granted us his old channel, which was extremely kind of him. But since he moved on to Nintendo Life, he wasn't really able to use it himself, and he was just kind enough. He wanted to help us out and give us that boost, and I think that's really helped us overall. But otherwise, moved down to Virginia to be with Amy, and now we got a place together, which was its own stressful thing. I don't know if anybody followed that, but basically, we were said, "Hey, you qualify for this amount. You're good to go." We were on vacation with my friends, which we do every year, and we go to the Outer Banks, so it's nice and secluded. So we were all sure none of us had COVID, so we were able to do the whole thing. But on the trip, we got to get contact by our bank guy, our lender, and he's like, "So I miscalculated, and you don't actually have the house. We not approved the loan, so we had to scramble to fulfill the things they wanted, like paying, like making sure to sell my townhouse that I had in Pennsylvania at the time, because I was waiting to secure this one, so that way I only had to make one move." And pay off my car loan. Like I had to be completely debt free other than this new house.
Wow.
And we kept doing everything as soon as they said, and they just kept pushing the goalpost back to the point that we were literally, we had movers have our stuff packed up. They were in a truck, but we could not move to the new place because we weren't confirmed yet. They just didn't they had one more thing. It was like, nope, hasn't still gone through that you can sign. And so they were holding on to our stuff. And in the meantime, we were just like, what do we do?
Yeah.
And so we were on the drive, like, well, this is our last chance with the only place that's still open at this point. And on the drive there, about 20 minutes before we arrived, we've got the notice that we were approved for the house, got the house, and we're not going to be homeless. So that was nice.
Wow. That's incredible.
And that was a month or so before Kai was born. So, even more stress with the baby on the way.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's been quite the year.
Our Twitch stream, FizzyWig says, I was stressed out just following the move on Twitter.
Oh,
So,
trust me, it was something. Like Amy and I broke down crying in the car just because of sheer relief. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. And then, of course,
that's all you need, right, Justin? Just good cry.
A good cry. That's actually what happens before I start the show every day.
These
guys, I just have a good crow. Yeah, good cry. Good cry. But of course, as we mentioned before, obviously being, and yes, just folks, ladies and gentlemen, let me be very clear. We are not saying that Derek is joining our team as a Nintendo dad. I want to be very clear, because I think people were like, he's leaving his show. I was like, no, he's not. He's just guest, and he's a Nintendo. You'll get it. But obviously, you're 1 month old baby as well. How is dad life treating you? You look tired, as anyone should be at this phase in their life, probably. But how are you coping with that change also?
I'd say I'm doing all right. It's been an interesting transition because my family never expected me to have kids. I'm the last of my. I have two younger sisters, and they both have two kids. So I think my family wrote me off. So they're having a good laugh now, seeing me like, oh, Derek's actually holding a baby. Derek's learning how to change diapers. Like, oh my gosh, he actually looks like a dad. But thanks to Amy giving me some coaching, I've learned how to change a diaper. It's funny how the first day or two, you're like, I don't want to touch the poop. It's not, that's gross.
Yep.
Day 4, you're just like, I'm tired. I don't care. Just get in there, get it out, and you're done. You're like, get the kid clean.
The same thing with vomit and all that other stuff.
Yep.
You just like, okay, clean it up.
I saw a friend of mine
spits
who
up on
has
me. Is like, whatever,
a
just
toddler, and he was saying the other day, his tweet was this: it's a full-on barehanded grab the poop kind of day. And see, we all laugh.
Understand it.
Yep.
Yeah, you just get sometimes you just. Speaking
Go
of
ahead,
jumping
Jesse.
in and
jump in and grab it. Grab this poop.
We've got a ton to talk about tonight, so why don't we just pop on over and take a look at some news?
Let's do it.
And of course, our news is brought to us each and every week by you fine folks over at Nintendo, patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. Almost said Nintendo.com/Patreon. Which
Don't
is
go
a
there.
Totally different meeting.
Nothing will happen.
Nothing happens. You'll get a 404 message. But anyway, patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. You can sponsor us for as little as $1 a month and join into the great community we're building over there on Discord. It gives you access to chat with all of us, including over 100 people who are fans of the dads. And you know, $5 gets you a little more access, kind of like an inner circle. $10 gives you a little bit more. $30, you become a Patreon producer. You get to come on the show. So yeah, just tons of cool stuff going on. And guys, you know, one of the cool things, and this came back this week after a hiatus for a little bit, is that each week over on Patreon on Thursday morning at 11 a.m. Central Time, you get to shape the show by participating in the topics poll for each and every week's show. And so we do listen. We do love it when you guys comment and suggest other topics over there as well, or ask questions. And so we want to include you in the show in the community spotlight, and that's how you do it, either by hitting us up over on Patreon or sending us a tweet or an email or a voicemail like we're going to hear later on in the show. But guys, you know what time it is, don't you? It's time. It's time, Jesse. Hit us with that sweet bumper.
Back in my day.
It's back in my day time, and this week, we are just going to run over November 22nd through December 5th. Not as extensively as we have in the past. We're just going to hit some high points of Nintendo history over these last few weeks. And we're just going to go by day and do individual years. And Derek, man, if you've got any memories attached to any of this, feel free to jump in.
Absolutely.
We would love to hear from you guys. November 22nd, 1996 saw the release of Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble for the Super Nintendo. And by the way, let me pause right here and say this. Unless we specify otherwise, these are all going to be North American releases. All right. And so I remember I was 16 years old when this came out. And I believe I got it for Christmas that year. Not my favorite Donkey Kong Country game.
No, I mean, John has a whole thing about being arch nemesis with Kiddy Kong in that design, which is horrific. But I did not grow up with an SNES. I looked at the SNES and especially Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2 and just envy. That's the games that made me want to get an SNES, beg my family. It didn't work. But fortunately, I had the Donkey Kong Land games, and that's how I experienced those three. Even Donkey Kong Land 3, which I don't remember much of. I think even as a kid, like, I'm not feeling this as much as the first two.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about the Donkey Kong games. I think, number 3, by the time it kind of got there, like, Donkey Kong 1 or the original was just so cool. Like, the look was cool, the fun, like, you knew it was all brand new. Donkey Kong 2 built on that even more so. And then Donkey Kong 3 kind of felt like it was almost a bit of a cash grab. Like, we know we can get money, we should just do this thing. So it kind of lost some of its, hype, I guess I would say, or the specialness, the special sauce about it, I felt.
There wasn't much gas left in the tank.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, it's so weird that only one of the 3 Donkey Kong games featured Donkey Kong as a playable character. That always confused me. It really should have been Dixie and Donkey. Like, why wasn't it those two teaming up? That would have been changed up the dynamic, because that's essentially what Kitty is.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just a giant babies are just disturbing. Babies are hard enough as they are, and then it's like, let's make them giant. Also in 2013, The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds was released for Nintendo 3DS. Oh, okay. I
have a controversial opinion with that one, because I get into fights with Ash about this one all the time. I think Link Between Worlds is better than Link to the Past.
Oh, ooh.
Okay.
I-
Where's our hot take button, Jesse? Get that one ready.
Hot take.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's hear it.
I mean, I didn't grow up with A Link to the Past. I, again, didn't have an SNES. So I made it a point before Link Between Worlds came out to play it. I played on the virtual console, picked it up and played through it. And I greatly enjoyed it. I appreciated what it brought to the table. But then I played Link Between Worlds and it was so freaking clever with everything it did. Just the world design, the merging with the walls, the story was kind of fun. And there's some minor things here and there, like what you say, like funny how Low Rule, it looks exactly the same as the Dark World, even though it's supposed to be two separate things. But there was just so much creativity there, and I loved seeing it all. I don't know, it just clicked with me in such a way. It's one of my top 5 Zeldas. It's really good.
You make a good point, though. Nostalgia for you didn't boost it the first game up for you, so this one just is basically A Link to the Past, but that much better.
Yeah,
because of all the improvements they made and all that kind of stuff, and plus the things that they did in the game.
I think for me that I love that game, but I think for me it suffers because they released it on the same day as Super Mario 3D World. And so like I played through it, but I don't remember as much of it as 3D World because I was spending the majority of the time there. I was really just playing Link Between Worlds to like I just want to go play more 3D World. But
Nintendo is very strange when it comes to releasing multiple of their games right at the same time, especially Mario and Zelda. Like, I think they thought they were catering to 2 different audiences, but there's a lot of overlap there. And like, I just remember because Andre was covering 3D World, I was covering Zelda, so
Yeah,
I was all in on that game, and I enjoyed the hell out of it.
It doesn't
Yeah,
seem
it
like
was-
7
it is-
years.
No, it really doesn't.
right.
it is in the top of my list too. So
Yeah, I actually agree with Derek. I think I like Link Between Worlds more than the Super Nintendo game because mainly I've never been able to beat that game without walkthrough at the end. Something about the end game just falls flat for me, and I get confused, and I need to walk through to figure my way around. I don't think I ever had that problem with Link Between Worlds.
Yep. Well, speaking of Zelda, let's move on to November 23rd, 1998. Ocarina of Time was released for the Nintendo 64. I remember coming home from college my freshman year, and I had this pre-ordered at Walmart and stopping by before I even made it to the house for Thanksgiving and picking this up. And it became my obsession for the next 2 weeks.
I believe it. I my Nintendo gap is SNES and N64. However, I remember the kiosks for Ocarina of Time constantly, just being able to run around Hyrule Field and trying it and being like kind of confused at controls because didn't have the tutorial at the beginning, but still just loving the heck out of it. It's like, this is so cool, to the point that I had a PlayStation, friend had an N64, so I let him borrow my PlayStation to play, I think, Final Fantasy VII, while I borrowed his N64 to play Ocarina of Time and just devoured it. So yeah, it's still really holds up.
It's funny how much that game changed what we know of as like the Legend of Zelda, but that even though that fact, like for me, it doesn't rank very high on my list of Zelda games. Even though it did set a lot of things in motion, I think for other games that followed. I think even to the point that it may be a little. I think one of the reasons I don't like it is because I see it becoming a little more, especially through the GameCube era, becoming a little formulaic. Like, get the 3 red, green, and blue things, and then go to the next world where there's 8 things to get.
Right. That even started with Link to the Past. Like, they were just sort of rotating that idea to a degree. Yeah. I mean, my favorite Zelda game is Wind Waker, but
Amen, brother. Come on.
Such a good one.
Best Zelda. November 25th, 1994, more Monkeys. Donkey Kong Country is released for the SNES. Are we all in agreement here, by the way, that Donkey Kong Country 2 is the best of that series?
Yeah.
No.
Really?
Oh, Justin.
I've never played 2 or 3.
The problem is my nostalgia is so anchored in number 1 that I can't look at it differently. That's the so I'll be like straight honest with you. Like, I don't believe so.
So if there was a
So,
2-year
I
gap
appreciate it.
between 1 and 3, when did 2 come out?
The next Christmas, because I remember getting it for Christmas in '95.
It was an annual franchise for a while, huh?
It was. I think
Boy,
that may have been part of the
sometimes that
problem
works.
by the time you got to 3. Was
Yeah.
that they were trying to make it an annual franchise.
I mean, it's crazy what can be annual franchises because you look at the PS2 era where Jack and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, and Sly Cooper are all annual series, like a new one each year, iterating on it. But yeah, I wanted an SNES for this. Thankfully, I had a cousin, and whenever I went over to his place, I tried it out. Don't know if I beat it there, but convinced me enough that I saw Donkey Kong Land. I was like, taking that.
Let's see here. Also, on November 25th, 2008, Chrono Trigger was released in North America for the DS. Any chance that we get to mention Chrono Trigger, we're going to take it. Chrono Trigger, the best role-playing game of all time.
The biggest gap in the current Super Nintendo Online
Yes.
catalog.
Yes.
Like that is if they just dropped that and just said, sure, we're good, everyone would be like, yeah, you're good. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're
I
fine.
keep waiting for the classic, the 16-bit era collection from Square. From
Yeah.
Phoenix.
Give us Final Fantasy 4, 6, Chrono.
Oh yeah, that'd be amazing. Just get that collection in there. I first experienced Chrono Trigger on the PlayStation as part of the I think it was Chronicles collection. It was 4 and Chrono Trigger, and people complained about that one, but I was blown away by the cutscenes at the time and didn't even mind the load times. I just devoured that game the first time I played it, and picked up the DS version, of course, which is basically still the definitive version of that game because you get all the cutscenes, you get a new scenario, it ties in better than Chrono Cross.
Better load
And-
times.
Yeah, just really good. This needs to be ported in some way with like this version needs to be ported in some way to the Switch. Something Square needs
I
to
keep
do.
hoping that it's a dual announcement. Like, here's the port and here's the new one.
That'd be nice. Oh yeah, man, if they did something with Chrono Cross as well, that'd be really insane. But really, I've talked about this a few times with the team, because Ash's favorite game is Chrono Trigger as well, and I don't know if you guys have played Dragon Quest XI at all, but Chrono Trigger remade with the visual style of Dragon Quest XI.
Yes, please.
My God.
Okay.
I want it.
Yeah. That would be I would be in
Now
on
you've
that
made
one.
me want something that probably will never exist.
Exactly. I'm good at that.
December 2nd, 2001, Super Smash Bros. Melee is released in or for the GameCube. And Melee's been in the news lately. We won't go there, but it's been in the news. You can go look that up. Basically, Nintendo doesn't like piracy, guys, or ROMs or anything.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey,
December 3rd, today, as we record. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad somebody bolded this one. I forgot it in the doc when I was. Star Wars Shadows of the Empire for Nintendo 64,
Yep.
1996. Still one of the greatest Star Wars games ever made.
I have
Yeah.
not played it.
Dude.
we have some friends in the community who have been playing it too.
Bad thing is that Disney coming in and taking over Star Wars, they officially said this is not canon anymore,
Yeah.
which really sucks because that was such a cool. I mean,
So-
I know that most 64-bit era games don't hold up really as well as other retro games, but I would,
Well-
if I had an opportunity, I'd play this today.
A lot of the new Star Wars content that is now being canon is drawing from the old games that were decanonized.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Hashtag no spoilers.
That's all. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
I've not
Go
watched
watch
anything of Mandalorian, so I got nothing
There
there.
you go.
Well
So,
then,
we
then
have-
Fortnite ruined it for you.
I don't even know. I don't pay too much attention to Fortnite, so all I know is the Mandalorian's in it. But beyond that, I got
Actually,
no idea.
hey, Justin, I don't know if you noticed by going all the way forward in the battle pass. As a little quick aside here, the name's not changed, so
The name is not changed.
it is not changed.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
Hmm,
So anyway, also
I don't know what that means, but okay.
That's
why
we're
is
trying to-
this
we're-
can I say this? Why is this bolded? 1997, December 3rd, Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey.
what are you talking about, eh? Of course it'd be bolded. The great one's got a hockey game, you hoser. Let's go, eh? Put the stick on the ice and hit the puck.
I wonder who bolded that. And then to finish out the week, December 5th, in 2005, Animal Crossing Wild World came out for the Nintendo DS. Probably my least played Animal Crossing of the entire series. I don't think I spent too much time.
I bet I've played less than you.
You probably
Zero?
have.
Yeah,
Zero. That is
I
correct.
don't really play Animal Crossing, so that's yeah.
New Leaf was my first attempt at it. So yeah, everything before that is a 0.
I was
Well, guys-
only interested in the original Animal Crossing when I found out from friends that it had all the NES games in it. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I was like, oh, take a look at the next one. And they're like, nope, no NES games. So I'm like, well, I don't care.
Because
Sure,
then
there you
they figured out they can charge you $5.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Why include these for free in a game when we could just have you buy Super Mario Brothers again and again and again? Oh, and by the way, have we mentioned the Super Mario Brothers Game & Watch?
Yeah, $50 version of the game.
Yeah, and in Super Mario 35.
Yep, absolutely. Well, guys, that was back in my day. Let's hop into the big news of the week. Nintendo earlier this week dropped Switch firmware 11.0.0, which is the largest leap forward that we've seen in a little bit for the Switch user interface. And we want to take a few minutes to break that down for you, let you know about some of the brand new features that you can be looking out for, and also just talk about our opinions about this. So everyone on the show is updated to 11.0.0, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I did a video on one of the segments, posted it on the channel.
Yeah. So obviously, I think the biggest addition with this new firmware is the addition of the Nintendo Switch Online button, which was added underneath the game tiles on the main menu. Shows information about what games support the Nintendo Switch Online functionality. It also shows you information about NES and SNES games, which I was playing around with this yesterday and noticed that games that were released in your birth month, it will show you how old you were when those games came out,
Oh, wow.
which is pretty cool. So,
And, in some of the cases, you were negative 14 years old when this game came out.
the bad thing is that all the games that came out in my month suck. It's like the best game that came out in May on the entire list is Super Soccer for the Nintendo for the SNES.
I didn't even look.
Not a fan of the old football.
Well, yeah,
He's not a fan of any sports ball.
I'm not.
I've not
Also-
looked at that, but that'd be kind of cool to see what it got released in.
and here's the thing: is you're scrolling down that list, it doesn't actually show up until you put your cursor over that game. So once you do that, a little birthday cake will appear and it'll have a number under it that tells you, and then you can click on that and it's like, oh, in this month you were, this game released when you were 12 years old, or you were, whatever. It's just a neat little thing. I thought was a tiny
It would be
little
nice
detail.
if the gift was viewable as you're scrolling instead of having to page one
I
at a
agree
time
with
to
that.
look at it.
I agree with that.
And real
You-
quick too, that first one there, when Jesse made me aware that we got this 11.0, I was like, oh, we got 11.0. As soon as I got it and saw that big red button, I immediately went to Twitter and changed it and said, this is the way it should be, Nintendo of America. Change it. It should be gray like the other buttons.
Well, I was
It's
gonna.
not a good
We were
look.
gonna come back to that, Tim, but I think this is a great point. Who in the world approved that? Seriously, like they've talked so much about how the UI is so sleek and fast, and it's it has this different it has this certain aesthetic on all those buttons, and all of a sudden you drop basically what is a 5-minute Canva clip art job in there, and what the crap? It's
Hey,
ugly.
Are you picking on my thumbnails?
No.
No, we expect better from you.
Yeah. I mean, it even like the first time I looked at it, I had to study it for a minute because I was like, is it off center? Like
But is it?
it kind of looked like it was off center, like it was kind of like photoshopped in.
Time to count pixels.
So why would they do this? I don't get it.
Sorry, question. Are you asking why would they do the larger update or just the red icon?
No, like the red icon specifically, because like
They want to make sure you see it.
It's an attention drawer, right? It's what's in there. Oh, they want you, or they want the user, right, very specifically to understand the value that the Nintendo Switch program offers, right? So there's a very deliberate reason why it's the very first one, it's the farthest left, it's the brightest, right? There's a lot of those things, and really, if you look at it, like if you go into it, I mean, it's essentially a web page, right? It shows you what you get, what they're trying to do is they're trying to enforce the value of Nintendo Switch Online. That's
trying to make me angry is what they're trying to do.
That's really what they're trying. That's really the point of that. So yeah, like that'd be the reason. That'd be the kind of the marketing reasoning for it.
Yeah.
Derek, what did you think of this update in general?
I haven't got too much chance to mess around with it, but I like the fact that they, despite the button, unified the NES and SNES games. Like it's always felt weird to me that they have an NES online app and an SNES online app. It just seems unnecessary to split it up like that.
But the apps still exist.
Yeah.
But like so I thought when that update occurred, I was like, oh, then they've removed those icons. Do you mean they've taken them off the dashboard?
Yeah.
They're all there.
I expected the same thing.
Yeah,
nope, still there.
It's just sort of like now you can get to them quicker. I think it's the idea.
I think you can use it as a launch pad into the NES and SNES apps, but it's not a replacement to.
No.
It's like a shortcut on your desktop.
Yeah.
Which is
You
nice.
better not be putting
I don't-
applications on your desktop. That's just wrong.
Yeah. It's nice in the fact that I don't have to go through my long list of games and try to find the apps again, but it's also like could make this a little quicker, and that's Nintendo in the nutshell. Good idea with less than perfect implementation, where it's always like, okay, you're almost there, just need a little step further, and yeah, it's most Nintendo things.
Yeah.
At least when it comes to online.
As we kind of talk about that, like having the conglomeration of games and why are the apps still there when you have this? So the rumor is spinning around that it looks like more tiles could be added there at the top of that list. There's the NES, there's SNES, and then it looks like eventually there could be further tiles add kind of fuel to that fire. The rumor begins to circulate on social media over the last few days that Game Boy Advance games are coming, or Game Boy games are coming to Nintendo Switch Online soon. Just real quick, Derek, what are you hearing about that? Like, are y'all, have you heard those rumors? What do you?
I've heard the rumors, but I haven't delved too deep into them. I don't know where they originated from to, determine like, because I can usually get a feel these days whether something feels real or not. The big thing that kind of has everybody talking is the rumors of, of course, the Switch Pro. And I think a lot of people are expecting big changes to Switch overall, like even like it's the way it's implemented with the Switch Pro. Like maybe now we'll finally get themes or folders and stuff. Everybody are kind of expecting this rumored Switch Pro be the solution to all.
I'm not expecting this to have any
complaints.
different UI than the original model.
No, I'm less than optimistic. So I always keep my expectations low for these kind of things because I've been around the block enough to know that you can hype something up and, they didn't meet that. Well, screw you.
Yeah. One of our old slogans is high hopes, low expectations. And lately, I've literally been going in with no expectations.
Yeah.
Taking it to the logical conclusion, which probably isn't healthy, but it's worked well for me.
I mean, that's the thing is like when they do surprise you, you can be truly excited. So I don't think it's a bad strategy. It's just, I guess you come across as a bummer if like you don't think it can happen, dude. It's like, well, it could, but I don't know for sure.
We've
so I
seen
don't
the
get my
patterns
hopes
here.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I think if they're, we're 1 week away from it's such an interesting update, and the reason I find it fascinating is because nothing's happening. That's the interesting part around it. There's nothing around it. There's no like if this update didn't come out, we'd be no bother. There's no significant, huge architectural changes unless you're making a change to prepare for something. right? Unless you're beginning to pivot. Now, of course, here's your icons for Super Mario 35. Yay, great, fine, that's great. That could have been an easy patch, but there are changes like the how you share pictures, the priority downloading. There are some UI or there's some quality of life tweaks in there that are very interesting. But again, there's if you look at the landscape around what Nintendo has right now, there's nothing that would align to really do that unless you're preparing for something. One of the theories that I've heard is that could we have at the Game Awards next week the announcement of, and here's the next part of Nintendo Switch Online, right? To have the system prepared, you have to be right to be able to do this. You have to have the infrastructure prepared like this, and allows for it to very easily key itself in. But again, this could have not happened, and I think we'd all would have been fine too.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, if they did put Game Boy or N64 and whatnot, people will be excited because it's finally something that's not NES and SNES. And there's certain Game Boy titles they could put on there to get people really excited, like the Super Mario Land 1 and 2, any Pokemon game, and people will go lose their mind. And Game Boy Advance titles, there's a lot of fans out there for Minish Cap and beyond. Like there's so many possibilities.
Advance Wars.
Metroid
Exactly.
Fusion.
Hey, here's Fire Emblem Blazing Sword, and hey, let's we just translated the original Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon. Let's get the Roy game out there.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Well, you got Zelda 25 coming up, so that could lay ground for that kind of
Zelda
stuff. Zelda
25, but it's done in the style of Zelda 2.
I really think
I would be
it's
okay with
too
this.
That we saw the actual Nintendo Switch Online NES and SNES apps update prior to this UI launching.
Yeah.
There was an update that brought
The 4.0 and 5.0, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like they updated and we don't know why, and then all of a sudden you have a big system update out of the blue, out of nowhere.
Because normally when they do a dot update, it's adding content.
Yes.
And they didn't add any content that we know of.
But it would be very, very easy for them to take the current structure that they have in that new Nintendo Switch Online app, or I want to call it a storefront, but it's not. For them to, I believe the hooks are already there for them to drop Game Boy or Game Boy Advance and automatically populate that by year list. So now that becomes like your one-stop Nintendo nostalgia shop, right? Like you can go and see what all the nostalgia you can play on the Switch now from all of these different systems. It kind of sets them up for the future, whether that's Switch Pro when that happens, or whether it's next month or next week at the Game Awards, we get the announcement, hey, go right now. Game Boy Advance games are available on Nintendo Switch, or they'll be available this Wednesday or whatever. However, I don't think that announcement of like a handful of retro games is a big enough announcement for the Game Awards for Nintendo.
No.
It harkens back to, hey, and Cranky Kong's in Tropical Freeze.
Yeah. And I think, when I think of these things, and again, we're not saying that, and I think if anything Nintendo has shown us in 2020, they don't really care for schedule anymore. They kind of do their own thing. But traditionally, where we saw Nintendo really make a concerted effort to say, and here's why you need to have this system, here's why you need to continue to subscribe to us, is September, right? Because that was when the yearly subscription came around. COVID delayed a lot of stuff, right? So could this have been delayed? And if you run out by 3 months, well, sure, look at it. It's about 3 months since that would have potentially been lined up. Kind of makes logical sense that it could be happening. And this is where they'll drop it. They'll make some announcements there. And because I think that the only thing that really sold us for holding on was the Mario 35 anniversary game, right? And you're like, oh, okay, that's like a game.
There's definitely evidence behind that, because all you really have to do is look at the release date for Super Mario 3D World on Switch.
Yeah.
Push that back 3 months. That would have put it in, I think, a release of November.
Yep.
Which is the perfect time for it. You get your classic, you got your Zelda game, you got your Mario game for your November. There you go. You got your good Nintendo month.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. So I think Nintendo was kind of left scrambling for.
I just wonder if with COVID, because what you said is really interesting. I wonder if Mario 3D World and Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity swapped places.
Huh.
Because a lot of people I've noticed a lot of our folks, in our community, make mention of that there's parts of Hyrule Warriors that kind of felt rushed, that kind of felt like they came out half-baked, particularly the frame rates. So I don't know.
That's hard to say because that's kind of a common thing in Warriors games.
Yeah, I see. But I mean, here's the interesting part that might actually align with Marty's thought there, because the patch for Mario 35 came out at about the time that Mario 35 would have come out, right? The only challenge I have with that one though, Marty, would be, and if we're using Derek's example that we're pulling 3D World into November, you'd be dropping both those games the same time in November. You're cannibalizing your sales. Right, you're dropping 2 Marios in the exact same week. Not a great move to do. So that may be, I don't know. That'd be my only maybe not on that one.
Yeah,
and if they do get GBA games into the Switch, they're finally delivering on the promise they made in 2011 with the Ambassador program on the 3DS to have GBA games on a portable system.
Yep.
Wii U doesn't count. That's not portable.
So let's talk through a few more of the, I guess, what we might call more minor features. And I just thought it'd be cool if we just give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. What do you think about these? You can now have the ability to automatically download cloud save states. Thumbs up or thumbs down?
I think that's probably thumbs up to me because multiple systems have it automatically download. That way you're switching. You got your Switch at home. You got your Switch Lite. Going on a plane. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic.
I had to turn it off.
Neutral for me since I only have one Switch. But if the Switch Pro is say TV only, then hell yeah, I'm going to use that feature.
Yeah.
I think this feature, among anything, while it feels a little minor, is alluding to the more that's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right? It's putting the infrastructure around it. Go ahead, Tim.
I have to mention this, and I apologize again for because my plane had to take off again, so it's going off in the background. Yeah. I had to mention this because I do like the idea of the cloud save states, so especially if you have multiple areas you access your account from. But in my case, where I share a game with Sammy, and he plays in my account to play that game. Like, for example, we let him play my wife isn't very appreciative of this, but I let him play Doom.
How old is he?
He's 12.
Let's not
that's
get judgy.
Fine.
Yes.
So, I was looking at Doom at 12, so it's whatever.
Right. So yeah, Doom 2016. I let him play that, but he had to use my account because parental controls and all that kind of stuff. So I haven't played it yet. He's beat the game, so he plays under my account on his Switch Lite. And if I do the automatic save and I go and I want to fire it up before I play Eternal, obviously. Mm-hmm. It's gonna, if it carries over that save from the cloud over to my Switch, to my primary Switch, then I've already beaten the game according to Nintendo. So I can't have that automatic cloud save states on. I have to turn it off so it doesn't overwrite my save state on my Switch.
Yeah, that definitely, especially spoilers territory. Like I think to Xenoblade Chronicles 2, where they changed the title screen depending on where you're at in the story, and somebody beats that game or somebody's farther in that game than you and you're transfer it over, all of a sudden, didn't know that was going to happen. Crap.
Right. Oh, there you go. Yep. So there's things like that you got to keep in mind if you're going to turn that on. It's off. Thankfully, they didn't automatically turn it on, but it's something you got to keep in mind because I was going to go turn it on in the settings and I was like, oh, wait a minute, I need to think about this.
Yeah.
So here's another one. The new trending tab on the user profile shows what games your friends have been playing by game versus by user. What do you think about this?
Boo! Boo!
I kind of like it.
It's a mess.
I haven't looked at it, but it's like, it's not one of those things like.
Here's the thing that
I care about.
It showed me the first time it came up it was like, here's 20-something people playing Hyrule Warriors. here's 14 people playing Hyrule Warriors, but it's the demo.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I
had,
like the data stuff.
Like 60 of my friends was playing Animal Crossing, and I put a picture in our Discord of like the top 6 people, and it's sorted by time. So like Nick was like 600 hours or something like that.
Oh,
and then Smash Brothers, I did the same thing. I pasted top 6 or 8. One person had 2,000 hours. It was at least 1,000, and my son was in the list at around 600.
Wow.
I
All
like
things
it.
that are possible.
I like the data. I think it's cool.
Yeah, Tim put a
It is
picture
cool. I
of
just-
his 4 friends who's played Picross. It was like 1 hour, 3 hours, and then there's me.
Yep.
52 hours.
Yes.
I think again, this is one of those things that is they're showing a more social infrastructure, right? And so it seems like they're setting up for more social options in the future, like especially because of the screenshots and videos, which can now be wirelessly transferred to mobile devices. You can I love this. You can send up to 10 screenshots at a time, which if you're posting batches of screenshots, you can only post 4 at a time. But you can also send a video just 1 at a time by scanning a QR code, which sets up a wireless network between your Switch and the mobile device. Then you have to scan a second QR code to get your images.
This is such a Nintendo thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Good
Like,
idea,
because-
bad implementation.
Yeah. Like, we should allow them to have easy access to photos. You're right. On their mobile devices. You're right. You know, we should do what? QRC scanning. 2 of them. Son of it. Like, you have an app. You have an app.
Yeah.
You can literally move them. Why are you
We
doing
talked
this?
about this. We talked about this earlier in the year that they have the app. Why can't they make it easier? Just send they want to do
Like,
the
the
phone
Xbox
thing.
app does that by default.
Yes.
You take a picture, it's on your phone.
I will respond as I always respond. We should start a bumper. 'Cause Nintendo.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
that excuse works a lot.
Yep.
And I think, as a developer and a computer programmer, I think the solution is creative. I also agree it's not very practical. Yeah, it basically turns your Switch into a web server. It's a Wi-Fi hotspot and its own web server. So it's running Apache in there or something. I should fire it up again and see if I can get some metadata on what server it's using.
I'm just learning about Apache too. That's
This is the most Nintendo thing that Nintendo has Nintendo'd in a long time.
And that was a sentence I was said.
Yeah,
Yep.
like I've done it once, and honestly, I was surprised it worked as well as it did, especially on the limited Wi-Fi network that I have at home. It worked really well. It was just awkward because, like, here I am, and I've got my Switch, and I've got my phone, and I'm trying to,
Yeah, I hear it works. From what I understand, it works a little bit better going to the PC, but I've not tried this out myself.
Yeah, because I think the PC is just a USB, like, ding.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did do
here's
that.
The thing. And I'm glad you guys brought that up because they've also finally enabled screenshots and video transfer to your computer when connected via USB. You cannot be connected through the USB port on the dock, which again, I don't understand. But you have to pull the Switch out of the dock and connect it directly with the USB-C cable, which is great if you have a MacBook with only USB-C ports.
My thoughts are they might have used USB 2 in the dock as opposed to USB 3. So that would be, that's a really slow transfer. Not a good way to transfer files.
Now, can you also transfer over your save files? This way your save data cloud?
I don't think so.
Because it's accessing the data on the SD card, not in system RAM.
Because
Or
Nintendo.
System storage.
Yep. And it does it differently too, because before, and I was telling Jesse this, because he was looking at my list, like, you only have like 4 folders. What's wrong with that? Like, because I've been transferring every month after the month's ending, I take my SD card out, or I had been doing this, take my SD card out and taking all the photos and stuff out and putting it on my computer by just taking the SD card out, plugging it in my computer. But the way they arranged it was by year, month, and day. So it was harder to find stuff unless you knew exactly the day.
Which is how it's normally done in phones.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when I connected it via the USB-C port, this new update, it does it by game, which makes it easier to find all your screenshots and stuff now. But it screwed up the system that I had been doing before, where I had to basically go back in, take all the things I've been saving since 2017 on my computer by date, put it back on my Switch, and then bring it back from my Switch back to the computer with the new way so that it would put all the games in correctly under the game names.
Because it was incorrect before, now it's in correctly.
Now it's
that
Nintendo
sounds
way.
like a very specific you problem. Not not saying
Definitely.
don't do that, but
No,
it's
it
just
was very
Shots
specific.
like
to
it
me.
was like we're gonna mess with you specifically.
Yes, that's exactly what they did. Hey, they got data on me. They know what's going on.
Right.
Oh, here's a guy who pulls out his SD card. Let's mess around with it.
I think the ability to get your USB connection photos and videos, that's a thumbs up.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been asking that for a while. I think that's definitely. Also, additionally added, and I don't think this is either here or there. I really don't think that anybody has a super strong opinion on this. Is additional Mario 35th anniversary icons were added for the user profiles, highlighting all of the various Mario games that they have been highlighting for the 35th anniversary.
What are you talking about? They didn't. This is the first they've highlighted Super Mario Galaxy 2.
Well, that's true. That's true. But I also love how they basically act like no handheld Mario exists at all.
It's better that way.
I still like 6 golden coins.
If 6 Golden Coins got a Link's Awakening type remaster, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That'd be cool.
That's the big question about is it worth it? Because it's not a large game.
Neither is Link's Awakening. By Zelda standards, it's not.
Well, yeah, but still, Link's Awakening is still at least twice as long as 6 Golden.
I mean,
Well, they could.
you could beat the original Mario Land in half an hour, and I think 6 golden coins in 2 or 3 hours.
Right.
Sure. I'd still pay $50 for it if you gave it to me in color and remastered it on the Switch.
You can remaster 1 and 2 together in one new game.
Yes,
I'm down for
Super
that.
Mario
That would be worth
Handheld
it.
All Stars.
Yes.
Seriously.
I don't know. Also, Portuguese is now a supported language.
Well, I added that because it is important because
Yeah,
it
because
is.
Brazil is a big audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And the Nintendo Switch is launched there for $1 million. It's
Definitely seems that way.
expensive. Pretty expensive. So that is what's in Nintendo Switch 11.0.0. We'll have to wait and see what they do. Maybe we'll get an announcement of something next week. I don't know. Speaking of announcements, Fortnite Season 5 for Chapter 2 kicked off this week. Many of us have already dove in and started playing. Of course, this season's theme revolves around bounty hunters or hunters in general. And it was announced tonight that Kratos from God of War is joining Fortnite. It's on Tim's Nintendo Switch as we speak, which blows my mind that a Sony-owned property is on. I mean, it's not a game, but it's something.
Right. It's still Kratos on your Switch, which is weird to see. And that said, I did hear that Sony people who play it on PlayStation, Fortnite on PlayStation, do have an exclusive Kratos skin.
Yeah, they get an armored variant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which is nice because I know like Sony fans are like, what the heck? Why don't we get this exclusive? Of course, this has immediately raised the question across Twitter: where's Samus? Does Nintendo do we get Samus?
And this is to follow up the screenshots this morning that Master Chief will be representing the wonderful folks over at Microsoft.
Like it didn't get announced; it got leaked, right?
Yeah, it got leaked. Very much like the Kratos one, where everyone was like, "No, that's not real." And then today they were like, "Okay, we have to show them it's real."
I'm calling that Samus gets leaked tomorrow.
You think so?
Yeah.
If she doesn't, then I don't think she's in because it seems like something people would find immediately.
The Fortnite leak game is strong.
Yeah, I think and I know that like Samus is trending right now, right? Is there any other bounty hunters that we would want to see in Fortnite from the folks over at Nintendo?
Captain Falcon.
That's what I was thinking. That's like out of all of Nintendo lore, I think that's probably the only other bounty hunter, unless they go with Star Fox.
I threw out Sheik possibly. I know she's not a bounty hunter. But
But I'm thinking of like hunters in general.
right.
It could,
Mm-hmm.
it could
Duck
be
Hunt Dog.
Link.
Duck Hunt Dog.
There you go.
Y'all
That
think
would
about it.
that's exactly what happened.
Link's got a sword to bust up and get, you
I'll
know,
say-
supplies. He could shoot a bow and arrow. So, but imagine the reality of watching Link run across the map holding a bolt action sniper rifle.
Yeah.
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 And I think that's the tricky part with Nintendo. I don't know if Nintendo's down with even a character like Samus
But
holding guns like
but how
that.
surreal it's going to be to watch Kratos do that, right? I
Good
mean,
point.
Yeah, so the Duck Hunt Dog in the Fortnite style would look kind of like the mascot Crash with the face cut out.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
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 Well, and like the thing is that with going back to Star Fox, I mean, we've seen there is actual art, there is actual lore of Fox McCloud holding a gun. So I think that one probably makes a little more sense than having Samus running across the map with her arm cannon supporting a assault
Right.
rifle.
I,
What is
I,
the likelihood that we see a Nintendo skin? That's the thing.
I think it's likely. I think it's very, very likely.
Well, if you think about Samus too, is that you got the Zero Suit Samus that you could start
Yeah.
off with, and then you
Yeah,
end up
progression.
the progression with it is getting the suit, and
And then multiple phases of the suit.
yeah,
Yep.
and the cannon can appear if necessary, so it could be something.
I think this is spot on. I actually think the cannon ends up being like a pickaxe, kind of like the Tony Stark one was in the last season. And like the back bling is definitely the morph ball. The glider is the gunship, right?
You don't think the emote there's a traversal emote where she turns into the morph ball?
No, I don't think so. I think that's a little bit too much.
I think
detail.
that would be cool if it does. I like that
So-
idea, the traversal thing.
I mean, it is Samus's, what is it, 30th or 34th? I
It'll
think
be
she has an
35th.
anniversary coming up next year.
Yeah.
It'll be
Prime
35th.
3 is on its way. There's rumors of some other Metroid stuff coming.
Yeah.
People are wondering what Mercury Steam's up to after Samus returns. So
Yep.
it wouldn't be a bad idea for Nintendo to promote Samus to the Fortnite crowd.
Yeah, and they absolutely know that folks are into Fortnite. Nintendo has had massive installment rates, or Fortnite has massive installment rates with it. I think this is, I think just the interesting part of it. I think this is a great move. Like, it just shows that Fortnite is making moves again, right? Like, they're really good at this stuff. We have seen Nintendo partner with them on not necessarily them, but like Psyonix when they put Mario and Luigi and Samus in Rocket League, right? So there is this kind of precedent of joining in and being promoted on games. So I would not be shocked at all.
I mean, Mario is in Minecraft, so
Yep. Yeah, they understand the value of their IP. I cannot wait for them to say, but unfortunately, Metroid Prime 4 is delayed. But by the way, would you like a skin? That's what I'm really. That's going to go great, I think.
Y'all,
Put out the trilogy.
So hang with me here. What if the Game Awards Nintendo announcement is Samus is in Fortnite and Metroid Prime Trilogy is now available in the Nintendo Switch eShop?
that would be huge.
That'd be awesome.
That's how you get
Yeah,
people
that-
to talk about
I'll be
Nintendo.
screaming.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's a week out.
Don't go
Still-
giving me
it's-
dreams. You know what I'm saying?
I know, but like, think about how do you make a splash, and it promotes everything. It promotes one of the hottest games of all time. It's an iconic Nintendo character. You've got the trilogy that people have been asking for. It's just buzz all around, right?
I think it helps. It definitely helps Samus out because you got that legacy thing, and kids might be interested in it. But the thing is, Metroids have never been one of Nintendo's
No.
highest sellers.
No.
I think
People forget that.
that would be a nice kick.
Yes.
For,
Yeah, definitely, especially in Japan. That's why I think it's one reason why Nintendo doesn't do a lot much with Metroid as
Correct.
could, because its biggest audience is North America and probably Europe.
Hambone Johnny just mentions for a limited time.
of course.
Until
Of course,
March
right?
31st.
March 31st, get your game in. Yep, that's
Oh,
exactly
my
going to be
goodness.
it.
Well, let's talk around that for just a minute, because Justin, earlier during the pre-show, you had just kind of posed the question: what is Nintendo's move at the Game Awards because they've shown up at least in one huge way over the last few years, whether it be showing off the first new footage of Breath of the Wild or announcing the first Smash DLC character as Joker, to Bayonetta 3 being announced. What do you think? What's the move this year for Nintendo in 1 week at the Game Awards?
So what my throw to this group was just pick one thing that you think they're going to do. I do kind of think it's going to be something with Metroid. I think that's, and I think that kind of logically makes sense. But the other part of it was like last year they kind of had not a great showing.
I don't think they showed anything at all. I think it was just third-party stuff. Like the best thing you got on Switch was Bravely Default 2.
Yeah,
that was the announcement.
That was
but that's not Nintendo directly.
It's real
so.
and it's coming soon.
Yeah. I don't know, Derek. What do you think? Is there one thing that you think Nintendo's gonna be like? Yeah, I think this. If I was throwing down a $5, here's what I think Nintendo's gonna do.
I think the easiest thing to predict is how long ago was it that we got Steven Smash?
Steven
October.
Smash was recently. Yeah, October.
Okay, so I think it might be a little too soon for that for a new Smash character in that case. It's possible. People always wonder if we're going to get a Smash character ever since Joker was revealed at Game Awards, but I don't know if that's happening. But I'm trying to think of other franchises that would get people really excited really quickly and fits the Game Awards crowd.
Is it possible? Is it possible that we get a first look at the Nintendo Switch Lite, the Nintendo Switch XL?
Switch Pro.
Switch Pro?
Maybe. I kind of doubt it. Nintendo likes to do their own thing with that, so I think
Series X was announced first at the Game Awards.
It was, but Nintendo really likes doing their own thing. So I think it's what's an audience they want to cater to for the Game Awards. And
yeah, that's fair.
Metroid kind of does fit that bill. I've not thought about it too closely, but like a Prime trilogy or Samus Returns HD or something like that, I think could do well. Or they could go crazy, or actually Hyrule Warriors DLC. That's another possibility.
I wonder where we are in seeing something more about Bayonetta 3, and if this is when that happens.
Yeah, the interesting part about that is they have kind of revealed or locked in a lot of their Q1 dates already. Which is very interesting, right? They've already kind of they've plugged in. We know what their February and their January, February, and March games are already.
What's January again?
January's Bravely Default.
Oh right, I get that's Square Enix more than Nintendo to me, so that's not necessarily like a big game for them. But I don't know if that's Nintendo's thing.
Is Nintendo still publishing that? I'll have a look.
Actually, I don't know. Did Nintendo publish the other Bravely Defaults? If so, then I believe
they are.
I'm checking. Keep going.
But yeah,
yes, Nintendo is publishing.
By Nintendo.
Oh, okay. That's me not being aware. Yeah, I don't know. That's
Justin, you brought up before this one because you surprised me by calling the Prime thing.
So you're just stealing my ideas. Okay, cool. That's how we work here.
Well, no, because I was going to say Prime too, but anyways, you said this a couple of months ago, I think, or last month. Where you thought Cyberpunk would come to the Switch as a cloud-based game.
That's right. My bold, crazy, someone's buying me a game if I get this right prediction.
So, yes.
That is the thing is that we could, and my other prediction there would be, could Nintendo basically come out and be like, welcome Cyberpunk to Nintendo Switch cloud version right now. Or anything in relation to like, oh, by the way, Valhalla is out today on cloud. Right? Are they going to lean heavily into that? I don't know.
That's what my prediction would be. Is there's going to be a big game announcement that will come through cloud. More cloud representation from Nintendo is my prediction.
Okay. Bold claim, Tim.
I was thinking I'd like to see some sort of like an announcement for a Zelda 2, a 2D Zelda rep. We haven't seen one of those in a while. Either Minish Cap upgrade remastered or something new,
or the Oracle games. A lot of people wanted that after Link's Awakening.
It would be super easy to do those and just use some of the assets from Awakening.
the question is, would Nintendo touch like remake a game made by Flagship, which was part of Capcom? I don't
Right.
know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's a good question.
Or they work in conjunction with Capcom on doing that. Like if maybe
Possible.
Capcom came to Nintendo and said, "Hey, we got these. We'll do these for you," or something.
May of May says Splatoon 3 or something first party online. Hambone Johnny says new Donkey Kong Country. Speaking my language. You don't come in my chat and suck up to us. You know what I'm saying?
I would. The thing is, I would not be upset if
Any of those.
Retro Studios was also working on a Donkey Kong Country game. Because
Yep.
my God.
Yep.
I'm going to stick with my kind of excitable aha prediction from a minute ago. I think it's going to be the announcement of Samus in Fortnite. And
Okay.
it may
All right.
just
It would be
be
cool.
that. It may just be like it's Samus is in Fortnite and she's in the item shop right now. Or it may be the Prime announcement with it. I would be okay with
Yep.
either of those. But I also love the idea of a HD up-res Samus Returns. I would buy that again.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know that I'm pretty sure, as I recall, Fortnite or the Epic and Donald Mustard has been teasing. He's like that we do have some big news, some big stuff showing off at the Great Game awards. So tough to say.
Okay. Well,
That'd be wild.
That's the fun stuff about watching Game Awards, right? Is just to see what gets announced.
And I think this would be a good opportunity to mention to all of our listeners that next week's show is actually not going to record on Thursday night as usual. It will record on Friday during the Game Awards. And so it will be a live reaction.
Well, Game Awards are Thursday.
Yeah, I was going
Game
to
Awards
say,
are
isn't Game
Thursday.
Awards on Thursday?
I'm sorry.
Yep.
We
Yeah.
will record on Friday with our reactions to what happened during the Game Awards. And
Okay.
our Christmas schedule is kind of wonky. That's why I got a little confused. So we'll have that, and then we'll be off a week, and then we're back, and we're off a
Well,
week.
are we? I thought we talked about this
I-
before in the pre-show and that we weren't going.
We'll get it sorted out. We'll
I
get
don't
it started. It's
I
okay.
don't know. Look, I'm as confused as Justin is in a normal DM on Discord.
That's fair.
the week
That's true. Very true.
right now. And speaking of confusing, or maybe not, Super Mario Maker for Wii U is being discontinued.
March
As of
31st.
March 31st. 2021. Actually, according
Doomsday.
to Nintendo, the digital purchase from the eShop will be delisted on January 13th in 2021, and uploads of custom levels will no longer be supported after March 31st because all Mario games are ending on March 31st, 2021. They're killing him. He's not coming back.
They're gonna do the
until February.
Yeah.
Well, February is the big send-off.
Yeah.
And then in March,
Yeah.
he's gone. They're
You
flushing.
should only play Super Mario 3D World. No other Marios are available.
So does that mean we only have a month to play that game?
Yep.
That's right. Yeah, there's
gonna
gonna
do
be
the
a warning
Superman-
on the box.
They're
It's
gonna do
say
the Superman thing with Mario.
Bowser's Fury DLC only available for this month.
Yes.
But Super Mario Maker's 2 services are not being interrupted by this, are not being impacted, and will continue into the next fiscal year, at least according to Nintendo. Also, the very popular Super Mario Maker bookmark website will be shut down on March 31st, 2021 as well. And y'all, I couldn't help but think of our good friend Paul Lloyd when this announcement was made, who has gotten YouTube famous for playing Super Mario Maker. And so our thoughts and prayers go out to Paul Lloyd on this announcement. But
Well, existing levels will still exist past March. You just can't add
Yes.
new
You just
stuff
can't
to
add
it.
those-
Yeah.
again, guys, it's almost like Nintendo is doing something on March 31st or April 1st.
I mean, the other thing is the bigger question is like March 31st is the end of the fiscal year.
Yep.
Why are they ending all this stuff at the fiscal year? That's the bigger question to me. Like, I don't know what they're planning to do after that. I don't know if like all of a sudden the next day something is happening.
I forget who said it in the chat, but someone says sounds like one big setup for either the best or the worst April Fool's joke in history.
Oh, sure. Sure. And in true Nintendo fashion, it's probably going to be business as usual on April 1st.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
We're all like,
It's gonna
what's
be like-
happening? Nothing.
Yeah. It's like,
Everybody-
it was just a sales tactic. And
As
now
it gets closer, it's going to be like, oh, there's going to be a Nintendo Direct that day. There's going to be. No, there's not.
Yeah, no, it's you want to think in like with all the coincidences that something might be happening that day that they're doing all this, but it's also entirely possible with Nintendo. It's just like, we wanted to try this limited sales strategy to boost sales. For it worked for Mario, and 3D All Stars, might work for Fire Emblem.
Yep.
And it's just what it is, and we didn't feel like hosting that servers anymore, so we'll just cut that and then for the fiscal year, like we'll go into the fiscal year that we have this, and then we'll start fresh and do something else.
Could you imagine if they were like, we didn't realize that the eShop only had so many spots we had to fill. There was a limit, so we had to start pulling them. So we're just pulling our
Mario
games.
games out.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you release 30 to 40 games a week.
Yeah.
Well, Zelda 35 starts on April 1st.
That's what it is.
There you go.
That's what it is.
All right, what else is on our docket there, Marty?
Well, let's just take a quick glance over a couple of things here. The Pokemon Company hinted at a big reveal at Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, where Pikachu made his 20th annual appearance as a float in the parade. The announcement was a logo reveal of what will be used in Pokemon's 25th anniversary celebration in 2021.
I mean, the only way that anything big was going to happen to reveal at Macy's was something Pokemon Go related, as far as games wise. Like the mainstream doesn't care about this, and the Macy's parade was weird this year without any crowds, so whatever.
And half of it being pre-recorded.
Yeah. And the other thing is that the logo really isn't all that different. They replaced the 0 with a 5 for Pikachu's cheeks.
And then they made Pikachu just more solid colored, where the 20, it was like made up of smaller little shapes that looked like a Pikachu.
Yeah.
So it's actually more simplistic this time.
Yep. Yeah, they had their Cranky Kong moments.
I don't know if anybody seriously watched this expecting huge news out of this.
Everybody
I wasn't expecting huge, but I was expecting more than a logo.
You watch the parade for video game news, obviously.
What else am I going to do on a Thursday with nothing else on TV?
Right. I mean, it's not like it's a national holiday or anything. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity sold more than 3 million units in 4 days to become the best-selling Warriors game of all time. Guys, listen to those numbers. 3 million copies in 4 days. Do you think Nintendo might be onto something with the whole Breath of the Wild universe there?
Oh, yeah. Like, Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be huge.
Oh, my gosh.
Yep.
Yeah.
No
It'd be
doubt about
interesting
it.
to see, if the first Hyrule Warriors was released on 3 different systems. So if you add up all 3 of those SKUs, where does that put up against the 3 million? It might be more, but I'm assuming this is just based on single SKU comparisons. But still, that's in 4 days. That's pretty damn impressive.
I mean, I think it got normal non-Warriors players interested just because it's story that we didn't get in Breath of the Wild, and that's the one thing the Breath of the Wild was lacking, was story. And that's I've not beaten Age of Calamity yet myself, but that I have heard it praised for just how much they expand on the characters at the very least.
And that's the thing that I struggled with is I'm interested, but I'm only interested for that story. I played the demo and I was like, nah, this ain't for me. It ain't gonna happen.
I was the same thing. I'm watching my son play it when he's over on weekends, and I'm like, the more I see him play it, it's just the less I want to. Because the things I liked the least, we're fighting the big things. The Lionels, the stone things.
This is everything.
And that's every level has one of those, at least.
I wanted Breath of the Wild to be. Honestly, I love that game, but the only thing that somewhat taints my perception of Breath of the Wild is breakable weapons. I hate it. It's a dumb mechanic. And Age of Calamity fixes that. I can run through a whole level and destroy 1,000 bokoblins and never once have to go and build a new, go find a new weapon or something. It's fantastic. Tim's over there grinning because Tim just loves beat 'em up games.
Yes.
That's,
Warriors is meant to be
the hack and
cathartic.
slash. It loves hack and slash games.
Yes, it's so good, and I love the story. There, like, I just got past the Korok Forest episode level, and yeah, I'm not going to say anything because there's spoilers in that. So I want, but I love seeing how they integrate everything. And, like, I know that the inevitability of this story is everyone dies, but it sucked me in to the point where, like, I don't care about how gloomy that is. I'm getting the answers that I wanted. So, but I'm also getting other questions, which is crazy. Let's finish out the news here with a quick round of game announcements. Of course, Doom Eternal has been coming to the Nintendo Switch for a long time. And we've been I know some people have been kind of impatient about it. Like, I am so looking forward to this. We got some news about a week ago that GameStop had begun to cancel physical pre-orders for it. And that led to some speculation that maybe it wasn't coming out. Maybe it was canceled. Instead, it is a download only, digital only game launching now on December the 8th for Nintendo Switch. And it's a 16 gigabyte download, so it's going to be pretty hefty. But also, if you buy it in the early days of it being released, you're going to get a free copy of Doom 64 and the Rip and Tear pack, which gives you some skins and other kind of bonuses, things. I am super excited about this game. I've not really watched anything about it when it came out because I knew it was coming to Switch, and I kind of do that with games I'm really, really hype on. Like, I don't watch anything about it, like, other than to know, oh, there's a sword, or oh, there's this. But now, like, I've kind of started to get into it a little bit, and everything I see makes me more excited for December 8th. I can't wait for this game. And I also allowed a 12-year-old to play Doom. And he's asking, can he play this one? And I'm kind of
Yep, that's all I hear every day.
I don't know. Are any of you guys picking this up?
Yep.
I probably won't, just because I don't have time. I'll be picking up Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon probably pretty soon, and I'm still working through Age of Calamity, and I still have Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory to play. It looks great. I want to get to it eventually, but I just can't get to it right away.
And that's why you don't have time.
Full disclosure.
And that background.
Before anyone says this, as they listen to this episode, yes, we know Doom Eternal is available elsewhere. Yes, we know it's cheaper. Yes, we know it's on Game Pass. We don't care. I want to play it on my Switch. That's why I've waited.
And it's done by Panic Button, so it's going to be it's
absolutely
good chance of being a good port. So
yeah, if there's somebody who does their ports well, it is Panic Button.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. This one kind of has my interest, but not because I'm a big Doom fan. It's more because the hype that you guys are having for it kind of makes me think about it. You know.
Justin, have you played the first Doom on Switch?
No, I haven't.
You should. As somebody who's hyped about Fortnite and Apex and stuff.
Yeah.
I know that you like the competition aspect of it, but as a shooter, the Doom kind of like, I guess, reboot or whatever, it's perfection.
Okay.
It's so good.
And it's very fast paced.
Yes. Yes, you will.
Which is a good fast paced. It's not
nice.
Yeah.
And I think it
captures that
sale?
feel of the old classic FPSs.
Nice. I think it's still on sale. Yeah.
Yeah, because like Doom, I mean, like a lot of those titles were $199, $299 over the.
Yeah. Anytime they went on sale, I picked those up too. So.
Yeah. So there you go. Also, Neo: The World Ends with You, a brand new entry in The World Ends with You, coming summer 2021. This was a huge announcement, I think, for fans of that series. I saw a lot of kind of like questioning about it, though. They were like, "Oh, I thought the story was done with the first one."
I mean, it's done, but everybody's wanted a sequel for a long time, myself included, just because it was just such a wonderful game and you wanted to see more of it. But the Switch port that they put out, Final Remix, had a new story that kind of set up for a sequel. Although even playing it, I'm like, I don't know if this is setting up something or not, because I don't want to get up hope. But sure enough, we have a sequel coming, and gameplay, of course, is very different because it was made for the DS and meant to take advantage of the dual screen aspect of it. So they've had to change up the battle system quite a bit, but it's looking. I'm excited. I'm very excited for this game.
Just saying here, we got a World Ends With You sequel before we got anything with Chrono Trigger.
Miracles happen.
Yeah, well, just
I
saying.
remember renting the original game and I didn't like it for some reason. I don't think I liked the two screen play.
It definitely takes a little bit to get used to, but once it clicks, and maybe the Switch version will do better. Although I do recommend handheld mode for that, just because doing those controls with a actual controller is just not perfect.
Yeah, friend of the show, Rogers, World's Ends With You is his favorite game of all time, so he is excited for this.
Mm-hmm.
Also want to mention here that Cubic Games, who develops for the Switch, is doing their second ever free games during the holiday season. Beginning on December 16th through the 24th, one new game will be available for free every day as long as you have a Cubic Games game in your library. Starting on December 10th, you can get Robonauts for free if you already have one of those games. And then each game after that, you skip from the 10th to the 16th, but after Robonauts, each game is free if you continue the sequence. So basically, you have to
and if you don't have any games, you can download Coloring Book for free, and that counts.
Yeah, Coloring Book absolutely free. So then that gets you Robonauts for free, which Robonauts is a great arcade style, like an homage to arcade style games. And two players can play that. But on the 16th, on the 10th, Robonauts is free. On the 16th, you get Geeky Yaba Runner. The 17th is Puzzle Book. The 18th is One Strike. The 19th is Wrecking Ball Adventure. The 20th is Caloro. 21st, you get hashtag Race Die Run. 22nd, Wrecked. 23rd, Mana Spark. And on the 24th, a to-be-announced game, which means it's going to be a new game because last year, Mana Spark had just come out a couple of weeks before they made it free for people who went all the way through this. Wow. So just to keep that in mind, if you miss one, you can start the chain again, but you have to do it by buying the game you missed. All right. So if you get the 16th and 17th and you miss the 18th, if you want the 19th for free and following, you have to buy the 18th game. So, these are the same games that were offered last year. To be honest, I downloaded all of them and promptly deleted most of them. But hey, they're free games.
Yeah, I've not heard of most of these, to be honest, though.
Geeky Yaba Runner is like an endless runner where you play as a gnome, like a garden gnome, who floats using a pair of giant women's panties. Like you jump and the underwear goes poof, and like he parachutes. Yeah, it's
amazing.
Real quality stuff there. But now some of them are kind of good, like the Caloro. I thought Mana Spark, really great. Those are fun games. The Robonauts is a fun game. If you can get through all the other stuff, you can get some gold there. We've got a ton of Pokemon Go updates here in the notes, but it's a lot. Jesse, is there something like one thing here that we need to highlight that's very, very important?
Just one.
You can make me pick one? This is a long list. I would say that the level cap has been increased to 50. And if you thought it was a pain to get to 40, you haven't seen anything yet. An example, to get to level 41 from 40, you need 6 million XP. In comparison, you need 5 million XP to get from 39 to 40.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, but it's not just XP based like the first 40. You have to finish specific tasks as well. These tasks are power up a legendary Pokemon 20 times, which is just raising it from level 20 to 30. So that's easy to do. Win 30 raids. Easy to do, but maybe time consuming. Have at least 5 gold badges. I already have like 20, so that was already done but when the update landed. And catch 200 Pokemon in a day.
Oh, jeez.
God.
That would...
Wow.
So, yeah, if it was just catch 200 Pokemon, that's easily doable by the time it takes you to get 6 million XP. But I'm literally going to have this will take me 4 to 5 hours of just doing this and nothing else but this.
I mean, it's for the truly dedicated at that point, especially if you got the 40, because there's a lot of XP necessary to get to that point, and I've not bothered with Go in a while.
Any XP gained post 40 still count. So I have 2 accounts. My main account has 30 million total, so I'm 10 million past level 40. So I already met the 6 million requirement. I just have to do everything else.
Oh wow!
My second account, I only hit level 40 like 2 weeks ago. So it only has 500,000 out of the 6 million. So it's going to take me 6 months just to get to 41. Wow. And apparently level 42 will require you to evolve 1 of every Eevee. I don't know if that means you have to do it again if you already had them, or if you did it once they count. I won't know until I level up to find out. And then what I've seen on the internet, someone's already 47. To get to 48 requires 21 million XP, which is more XP than it took to get from 1 to 40.
Oh my god.
That's 20 million.
They want you to be playing for a while.
And you have to walk with your buddy 200 kilometers. Separate from that, you have to walk 25 kilometers in a week and get that bonus reward for 8 weeks.
Yeah, they want you in there.
So you are going to be locked at that level for at least 2 months, even if you have the XP.
They're getting their hardcore audience, and they're making sure they're hardcore.
Yeah.
Antonio says, I can catch 200 Pokemon in my sleep. Hold my beer.
Wow. Well, that's the news. Let's talk about a quick rumor and an event, shall we?
Let's do it.
So, this week, Nintendo UK dropped the bombshell through one of their support team members that quite possibly, maybe, we don't really know, that the Switch dock, the thing that connects it to the TV, is discontinued.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
And this is definitely news to Derek. If you're watching the live show, he's definitely confused by this.
Yeah, I've not heard of this. This sounds insane and completely wrong.
Well, let's talk about this then, shall we? So the story broke earlier this week that a user reached out to Nintendo UK to find out when the Nintendo Switch dock would be available again, because apparently it's been out of stock.
A reasonable question.
Right. He received a response from the Nintendo official UK store that said the following. I'm going to read this. For your records, your original inquiry was, when will the Switch dock be available for purchase again? The product has been out of stock for some time in the UK, whereas the US, Japan, and Europe has been available since the product's release. Can the dock be available again? It's important to us as users to want to be able to have a Switch dock in every room that has a TV, a dock for traveling, or is just a backup. Upon further investigation, we can confirm the following. I'm really sorry, but we have discontinued the Nintendo Switch dock set in the UK. Therefore, our UK store will no longer have stock on this. Stock on this site. I apologize for the inconvenience this may have caused. If you require any further information or assistance, please feel free to contact a member of our support team via your account.
Okay, then. That's,
Yes.
I mean,
Why?
it seems to be just
What
based
is
around
going
UK,
on?
but why just the UK? It's.
Has
My
anyone
first thought was that it has something to do with some kind of regulation. That has something kind of do with manufacturing regulation or a power regulation or some kind of crazy thing like that, where it's broken a rule and now they have to not sell that version of it anymore. But it's been 3 years.
And they still come with a Switch.
Yeah. I
That's-
figure they still come with the Switch. It's just a matter of not the extra ones. And granted, they're overpriced, but you're going to be even more overpriced if you have to import that if you want a second dock.
Mm-hmm.
Or go third party.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, folks, Genki, fantastic solution.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
A Genki portable dock is amazing. And I think this is, for Nintendo conspiracy theorists or hypothesis, this has created a fantastic kind of breeding ground of like, is this an indicator we may be getting another Switch in the near future? Is maybe the reason they're stopping to sell this is they're going to offer now a enhanced Switch dock, which means it'll now have 4K output from it. So yeah, it's crazy. How many piles of Genkis do they have to you, Justin? Nice job. Thank you, Episol.
Or again, as I hinted at earlier, a possible result would be something that's TV only, so you don't need a dock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we know can we still get them in North America? Has anyone checked that?
Pretty sure it's
I'm
possible.
going to check right now.
Yeah, I've not checked.
Right.
But
This is hard hitting journalism here, folks.
I don't think that's the reason, because
No.
it makes no sense not to sell the old stuff despite something new coming out,
You
because
can
there's
buy
always
a
going to be.
refurbished dock on the Nintendo Switch web or Nintendo website, store.nintendo.com, for $39.99.
It's a UK specific problem right now.
Yes.
Amazon has them available, for $60 currently out of stock, but says will be in stock on December 14th. So
Yeah.
you can place your order now.
Yeah.
Don't know what's going on in the UK, but there you go.
Which
Jeez.
this was more expensive than that before. So isn't 60 a price reduction over what it was 3 years ago? I seem to remember it was 80.
Yeah, it might have been. I can't remember.
They
Exactly.
are expensive. Like one of those things of like, should I just buy a new console?
Right.
Seriously.
And I have 3 docks in this house, plus the portable dock that I reviewed last month.
Mm-hmm.
They're out there,
Okay.
folks, and they're not broken switches anymore. So there's that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know what to make about that. Like you said, it's just being a UK only thing. I think we got to wait and see what's going on there. It could just be also too. Sometimes companies hire people who don't care about their products,
That is also true.
and
Yeah.
it's the holiday season. People are tired. People are just trying to find some work, and maybe the wires got crossed there.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. Let's
Pinch of
talk
salt.
about an event happening this weekend.
Do it.
It's time for the 18th Maximus Cup, featuring a brand new theme, Super Mario All-Stars. It begins probably as it's already begun as you're listening to this audio-only version of the podcast, and it lasts through December 7th at 10:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. As usual, go in, play the game, get 100 points. You get to keep.
This is not
the brand
3D
new-
All Stars. This is All Stars, the Super Nintendo.
Yes,
Mhm.
it is. Yeah, and you can go check out a preview of this on Nintendo's YouTube channel. It's actually a really nice theme. Love the music. Love its integration's great. First new theme in a while, right?
It's been like a month.
Yeah, because the last time there was a theme, it was a repeat. It was the Pokemon theme that I didn't
Yep.
play the second time because I didn't.
They had 2 or
want to.
3 repeats there, like with Luigi's Mansion and the Animal Crossing.
Mhm.
Did
And
they?
now
Oh.
this is the first new
Yeah.
theme in a while. And so you can check that out right now. You can go to find it by clicking on your ugly Nintendo Switch online menu button that is glaringly red over on the left.
So
Brand new.
salty.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's
So
talk about what
salty.
we've been playing.
Do it.
Derek, on our show, it is tradition to allow the guests to go first and talk about what they've been playing. Though I know your circumstance as of late may not have lent itself much to gaming.
He's been playing the parenting game.
Yeah, a lot of that. In the meantime, but in between sessions of the parenting game, I've been trying to get through Hyrule Warriors and trying to get a review done of that. And I've been really enjoying it. I'm about a mission or 2 into chapter 4. Just to not go into specifics there. Give a rough idea, but my God, after every mission now it seems that just so many other things pop up, and it is immense. That said, I got far enough that I got a little preview of what you get as a reward for 100%ing the game. And I really like it. Like, it's like, okay, that's clever. I like what they did there. I don't want to reveal it, of course, for those who don't know.
So
but
it's better than Golden Poo, huh?
Yeah, it is. It's something new to Breath of the Wild in general. So it makes it.
Maybe you get a sidecar for that motorbike.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I've been enjoying it. I need to just hunker down at some point and just plow through the rest of the story so I can get to the more reviewing stage of it, especially with Fire Emblem coming up here soon, because I do want to try to cover that game as well, since I am a pretty big Fire Emblem fan. Otherwise, I make my time to play games by streaming. And I've been in the process of streaming Persona 3 for the first time. I loved Persona 5, but I've never gone to the end of the older titles. So I decided to check out Persona 3, and that's been a lot of fun. About halfway through the game, according to my chat.
FES version or which version?
FES version. So I'm halfway through the main game. There's still the extra content after that. So there's still, I mean, it's Persona. There's a lot of content in there to get through. I think I've reached September for anybody that's played before.
Oh, so. You're near the end, 3/4 ish.
Yeah.
I remember the end going a lot faster than the early game.
It does seem like the pacing's picking up a bit, which is it's nice because it's so different from Persona 5, where there's Persona 5 kept the story integrated pretty well as you're going through. This, it feels like it doesn't happen until you get close to the full moons, which it feels different at this point. But I'm still enjoying it. It was definitely an adjustment compared to what I was used to, but this it feels nice. Along with that, I've been streaming. I'm a huge Ratchet and Clank fan, and when I saw Rift Apart for PS5, it's like, well, there's my system seller. When that's out, I'm getting a PS5. And it's Ratchet and Clank's a series that does well, but it's never been super beloved by people. So I wanted to kind of show off what makes the series so great. So I've been actually in the process of playing through every game in the series for the stream, and I've reached the third one so far. And I have convinced a few people to try them out, and they've all seemed to enjoy it, which makes me happy. And the last thing I just started playing last weekend was for streams was Hades, because everybody was raving about Hades, and none of us at Good Vibes had played it before, and it was just like, with Game Awards coming up, I should probably check this out. I've been curious. People love it. After 3 hours of playing, it's like, okay, this thing controls smooth as butter. The voice acting is great. It's a fantastic game. I get it. I totally get it. And just completely sold on, especially I wanted to stream it early because it was on sale for the whole cyber sales for them. And yeah, I get it. I'm looking forward to playing more this weekend.
It's an absolutely fantastic game.
Yeah.
I seem to impress people because my last run of the night my stream, I got all the way to the boss of Elysium, died to him, but made it there in my first 3 hours, which apparently is crazy, pretty good. I don't know. I had a good setup. So that's pretty much what I've been doing.
All this talk of Hades, and I haven't picked it up yet, but
I'm
so tempted.
And it's buried in the backlog
It's so good
right now.
Yeah.
It is good. I just can't. I've got so much, and of course I keep piling games on top of the backlog, and we'll talk about that here. Just a minute, Jesse, what have you been playing?
All right, so all this talk about Stadia and streaming, I thought I was kind of starting to get a little bit curious. I heard that Amazon, if you're Amazon Prime, you can get Luna for relatively cheap. So I figured, let's check this out. I looked it up, and I'm like, they're in early access. I put in say my name in the hat, and they said I can get one. So I have the software package. I don't know what the full price is going to be, but it's like $6 a month for the normal package during the early access, and I think $13 a month if I want to include Ubisoft games. I just signed up for the cheap one for now, and then I haven't played anything yet. I'll probably do some this weekend because while I can use pretty much any Bluetooth controller, I wanted to use their controller to get what they want out of the service. So I was able to buy one for $50, which is a $20 off of normal price during the early access period. That should be coming on Saturday. So this weekend I should be able to hook it up to. I plan on hooking it up to my laptop so I can. While it doesn't support 4K yet, when it does, it should be able to use the 4K connected to my big TV, and I might do a stream or a recording, and we'll see how that works. It'll be my first time trying any of the streaming services since PlayStation Now's beta, which was awful.
Never
Justin,
tried
you're gonna have to
PlayStation
add him to
also,
the chat.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to add him to the chat now.
What happened?
You'll see.
You'll
You'll
see.
see.
You'll see.
Okay, I'm confused. Anyway, so a game that I got, we got an early access code for Picklock, which was released a few weeks ago, and I did a stream. I think it was shortly before it launched, and I could tell, and I even said it in the stream. This feels like a game made for a PC that was then switched around to work for the Switch. The controls were really weird. It's kind of like an isometric 3D view that you can spin the camera, but the spin is way too fast, and there's we don't have analog triggers. We have digital triggers, so you can't do anything about it. I got to the end of the first day. I had no idea how to end it. I eventually I had the choice. I found the choice to restart the level or pretty much abandon the level. I can get to the second stage, but I had no rewards. But never figured out how to actually properly end the level. So at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm shutting this off. And that's as far as I got. And so I have like a 15-minute stream of seeing me get frustrated with the game.
Oh my God.
If you're amused by my frustration, enjoy. It's out there.
And funnily enough, some people are.
I'm glad I can help.
That's okay, because when I get to talk about my games, you're going to get to see me frustrated over the weekend. So.
Yeah, as long as
Me
I'm not
too.
the only one. So,
Yes.
okay. Then a game I'm not frustrated in, Picross S5, launched on Thanksgiving Day. And since I had an extended weekend without having to work, and I spent most of my weekend pretty much PS5 hunting, and in my off time, I had nothing else to do, so I played Picross S5. I have finished the game, other than the 5 large levels, in a week.
That's the reason why you were number one on the leaderboard there.
Yeah,
Or
and when
on the
he
list.
took his screenshot,
on
I
the
was up to
trending.
40 hours, and I think I put in at least 10 more since that.
My
But of
God.
course, I don't see the number of hours I put in until 10 days after I played it. So I have to wait until Monday.
That's why you made your
apparently-
comment. You saw your screenshot, the screenshot
Yeah.
I made, and you were like, "Oh, I guess I put in that many hours."
And so then, again, as I mentioned it last time, the S5 will, when you finish a section, will tell you how long you spent in that section. And that's just adding up all the times of the puzzles and adding them together. And that doesn't include replaying a level because you messed up. That's just how long it took you to complete the levels. So like previous Picross games was like 30 to 35 hours total. So, and I know there's a few levels I had to play 2 or 3 times before I solved it. So the total play time will likely be 50 to 60, but the actual clocked time will probably be, 30, in the 35 to 40 range. And none of the puzzles I finished took more than a half an hour, most far less. These last 5 will be probably 45 to 60 minutes each. Just because they're 30 by 30s and 40 by 30s. Like I tried to do a 30 by 30 before the show, and about 25 minutes in, I realized I flubbed up and had to start it over.
Oh, that's awful.
Okay, and so but I like that because I don't use autocorrect. I don't like because it will give you a time penalty. I would rather just scratch it and start over than get time penalties that stack, and then so that's how I play the game. I know other people can choose to do it differently, and that's what options are for. Then finally, I don't know if we talked about what the monthly Mayhem game is this month, but it's Age of Calamity. Originally was you get points for every Korok seed you find.
Yeah.
They changed it up to you get points for each percentage of the map you complete.
Yep.
So my son beat the game and he is one who does pretty much mainstream the game, mainline it. He doesn't do side quests, and his percentage, even after doing some side quests after he beat it, was like 35%.
Oh my
So
gosh.
this game is massive if you do
Yes.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
I am not playing Age of Calamity, so the alternate game was to play the original Legend of Zelda on the NES, and you get points there for every heart container you collect. So it's by design in for the contest, worth less points because they want you to play the bigger game.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first time I've played through the game front to back in probably 20 years. Of course, I didn't do it blind. I had every map downloaded, printed, and a mini walkthrough for how to collect stuff before I hit the first dungeon.
Yeah, you were showing it off at the dinner table.
Yeah.
Your printed maps.
But I did the entire game front to back in one sitting in about less than 6 hours, which I don't think I've done that. Since it was almost new, like almost 25 years ago.
Wow.
But it was fun playing that game again.
I'm gonna play that again because I got this. I don't know if you guys can see this, but the hand-drawn Zelda
nice.
book that
Nice.
Right.
we have.
I've mentioned before when I was a kid, I did draw my own maps for the dungeons, in both quests. So I had 18 of these things, graph papered and proportioned correctly. And I wish I had them, but I don't anymore. So that's why I had to print out. Otherwise, I would have used my own maps.
Yeah, and you could have made money on it if you sold it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing about the second quest, I don't know if anyone's ever tried this, is there are some walls that are just pass through. You don't bomb a hole. It's like a false wall. You just run through it. But some of those are one way only.
Oh no.
So, and I literally tested every wall and every dungeon in order to draw this map out. It was back in the day. All right, so
I was a little past the point of making graphs. I was too young to know about doing that. So,
Yeah.
this came out. Let's see. I think I played it. It was like 8th or 9th grade when I played this game. So
okay.
that was pretty right in the right age of wanting to do this.
Right.
All right. So those are the games I've had.
Cool.
Nice. Justin, what you been playing, buddy?
I'm going to give you like a quick high overview. 5 games, less than 5 minutes. Number 1, I've been playing Pogs, P-H-O-G-S. This is or Fogs, as you might call it.
I think it's Pogs.
Fogs. Super fun puzzle, co-op, couch chaos. You want to talk about playing with kids, playing as a partner? It's a ton of fun. You play as 2 dogs that are sewn together, and you have to accomplish tasks. Reminds me of like Snipper Clips meets Snipper Clips. It reminds me of that kind of aspects.
Can you play it by yourself?
You can. My stream was by myself as well. So it's very, very cool. It's a ton of fun.
I played it at PAX East. I got a chance to play a demo with the developer, and it is a lot of fun. It's very cute.
Yeah, I played it. I think first time was 2017 over at EGX. And the moment I played it, I was like, this has to come to Switch. Where they're like, well, we don't know. And I was like, no, yeah. The next one I'm going to name is a game called Out of Space. Out of Space. And imagine, I like couch chaos games, right? Like Overcooked. This is the next Overcooked. All right. This is imagine it's a space station and you are a cleaning crew of a space station. But unfortunately what has happened is that like aliens have like hibernated in the space station, and then you open up like these doors and these bays, you go in, you have to like sweep out all the aliens, then you have to stop them, and then you have to like clean the room, and you have to like get switches activated and turn the power back onto the station, and then there are like other rooms that you go into, so if you open up that but an alien creeps out, now it's like dirtying up the room that you were in. So
they don't
now
disguise
you're gonna, like,
themselves as imposters, do they?
No,
this sounds like a different game.
Yeah. But it takes that 4-player couch co-op. You have a role, you have to do it. We have to manage stress. We have to figure out the room. All those. It's kind of like Moving Out and Overcooked got blended together and like used the Alien movies as a backdrop, but like super like kid friendly. I would highly recommend it. I would highly recommend it. Usually when I give these games to like Jody and I, she'll play for like an hour and she's like, yeah, I don't care much for this one. I was like, okay, cool, moving on. This has been the game. She's like, yeah, let's go back and play that one. So it's in that tier right now of Overcooked with our family, and my youngest daughter is like, yeah, let's play. So a lot of chaos. You can be doing really well on a run, like you've got all the rooms cleared. There's like 8 rooms, you've got 7 of them. You're like, go in the last room, and you go in the last room and like 5 aliens escape. And they dirty up everything. And so now it's like, we've lost 2 rooms. No, what do you do? Now I'm stuck in a cocoon. What do I do? I'm dying. Get the water. Why won't you do these things? So that is what I have also been playing. Other games I've been playing really quickly. Jesse mentioned streaming. I got access to Stadia, and Ubisoft was kind enough to send me a code for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And I am loving it. Wow, that is a fantastic game. I love that kind of that European Viking atmosphere. It's been a long time since I have played an Assassin's Creed game, but let me tell you, I am loving every moment of it so far. So that's pretty fantastic. Also, Marty, FYI, you'd be pleased with me. I think Tim, you might be as well. I picked up Jedi Fallen Order during its sale at Stadia, so I picked that up. But the game that's been taking my time right now that maybe we can have a quick conversation about, game formerly known as Gods and Monsters, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about Immortals Phoenix Rising. Again, big thanks to Ubisoft for sending us review copies for that one as well. And I got about 2.5 hours into it, and I am enjoying it. It is Breath of the Wild light. Breath of the Wild light-esque. It is definitely inspired by it. You can see parallels. It's definitely got Assassin's Creed feelings in it. I would say I struggle to understand what the audience is that they're going for. And so what I mean by that is it feels like it's PG-13. It feels like Pixar might have written it. Like there's this kind of like there's some double entendres in the jokes. There's some, there's Prometheus and Zeus having these conversations, this continual narration that kind of goes over it. There's a lot of breaking of the fourth wall in relation to
Zeus is not a PG-13 guy, if you know anything about real Greek mythology.
Yes, so it's really interesting. I struggle to figure out like where is that spot? Do you know what I mean? I think because of the narration, because of the characters that they're building there, the dialoguing, it's difficult to say where. It's almost like they were like, hey, if we had Assassin's Creed, how could we make it less mid-20-year-olds playing it and more like 13-year-olds playing it?
Less murdery?
Less murdery and more goofy. And so that kind of feels like what it pulled into. But I'm going to say I think it plays really well. I'm having a ton of fun playing it. The combat feels good. I do admire the voiceover work. Like, it's good work there. But it's also like, could I also mute you? Could we also stop talking? Because that would be brilliant. They have some nice overview hub systems of it. I think it's great so far. I know, Marty, you've been playing a bit of it. You have some thoughts on it. I'd love to hear.
So I got in about 45 minutes of it earlier before I had to go do something else. And I got to the point, if you Justin, I had just gotten through the first. What are the other dimensions that you go to? What is that called?
I'm going to call them trials, essentially.
Trial. So the first trial in the game that you go to, you get an axe and you get a wing attachment that lets you double jump and float.
Yeah.
And I just gotten that and jumped across the bridge that you're able to get to across there, going toward what I think is probably the first boss fight, which is a griffin.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I thought that it was good, but and I said this out loud when I first got climbing and everything else. I said, "Oh, this is Breath of the Wild on a budget."
Yep. Yep.
And so that's how it's Breath on a budget, and it feels. Here's the thing. I really want to like it because I think it does a lot of things well. I think like the voiceover and the storytelling is really good. The art style is really good, if not a little tad generic for your character.
Sure. Yeah.
It's super generic for Phoenix. I would have much rather, like at the beginning, for those of you who've not played it, Phoenix is a shield bearer who's involved in a battle, and they're out on the ocean coming home, and a storm hits the boat, and he washes up on the shore, and you go through this really rudimentary character creation thing that's also kind of funny because like as you're creating the character, Zeus and Prometheus are commenting on your choices.
Yeah.
As you're like, oh, he chose the blue eyes like Azul or something like, so it's commenting because Prometheus is telling the story of Phoenix to Zeus. So he's like building it as it goes. But it was real super generic. And like, I would have much rather them centered in on a really, really good design for the main character other than have it be something that looks like out of a Creator Wrestler from WWE games from 2002.
Yeah.
I like that description.
It's kind of plasticky. And I know it's probably not as bad on like PS5 and next gen systems, but come on, guys. The other thing is, I want to find the person who came up with the Far Sight mechanic, where you have to go into Far Sight and like look around and the controller vibrates and you have to tag different things. I would like to take them outside and beat them with a sack of doorknobs. It's stupid. It's awful. It is going to decrease my enjoyment of the game eventually. And for those of you who haven't played it yet, your first task after your first fight is to climb up to the top of this giant statue, which is kind of like climbing up to the top of a bell tower or something in Assassin's Creed, so you can unlock that area and get the lay of the land. But it teaches you to go into Farsight mode, which basically becomes this first-person view where you move a cursor around, and the closer you get to important things, it vibrates and it lights up. And eventually it will bring up a prompt to hit ZR where it will reveal that thing and mark it on the map.
So you're playing hot and cold with a pixel?
Yes. This is a
I
dumb
don't
way
know if
to
that's a
show
good
your
thing
quest.
or not.
This is a dumb way to show your quests. It's a bad decision. It took me out of the game and made me go, am I going to have to do that all the time?
Well, and that is the thing. Like I said before, this breaking of the fourth wall, they spend a lot of the game pulling you out of the game.
Yeah.
And so from just a storytelling perspective, but then to do that much more mechanically, you're like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I get it.
I think it's such a shock from like Breath of the Wild, like did not allow you to ping and find all of those things, but it allowed you to discover them. And it had a great mechanic with the like, whoop, 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 like that encouraged exploration. This just encourages me to spin around in a circle and press ZR really fast and hope that I reveal everything. It doesn't, but here's the thing. That being said, that's the only thing that I did not like about my first 45 minutes of the game.
I'm going to be interested to talk to you next week as you've got into it further. And maybe we can have a really good, healthy conversation about like what are kind of more thoughts on it.
I will say one of this. I do like because that sounded really negative. I want to leave on a positive note talking about that. The combat is awesome. It feels really good, and the character overall, the control is spot on. It's like because the first trial you go through is rudimentary puzzle solving, but it also involves some jumping and being able to like stop platforms and get them where you need to go and jump from platform to platform, and it just felt exactly right. And so they nailed that. And so like if you're jonesing for Breath of the Wild 2 and you don't want to play Age of Calamity, but you want to play something that's kind of adventure-esque like Breath of the Wild, I think this is probably your sweet spot.
Hasn't been on my radar, but it seems like another Ubisoft open world game with a Zelda flavor.
Yes,
from outward appearances.
Yep. Also, it completely blows my mind that Ubisoft has released 3 open world games in a matter of 6 weeks.
Giant open world game.
Yeah, giant open world games.
Yeah.
That's
Justin, I
Ubisoft.
had sorry, go ahead, Derek.
Oh no, I'm done. You're good.
I was going to say, Justin, I have a question for you in regards to your experience between playing the demo of this game on Stadia versus playing the actual game
Yep.
On Switch.
Sure, go ahead.
That's
What's my
question.
experience?
What's your experience
Sure.
between
I
those
was
two?
like, I was like, yes, go ahead. I think actually, to be honest, and if you caught my stream, I was having some major controller issues with Stadia, but I don't believe that was Stadia's issue. I believe that was something wrong with my controller. I think it's quite well. Like don't really notice any huge differences. Obviously, graphically, the difference is a little bit different, right? Like that's definitely there. But other than that, there's nothing from a gameplay perspective that made me say, yeah, that's completely different.
Okay.
I don't know if that helps at all, Tim, or.
No, that's what I was curious because it seemed like you had a bad experience with it.
Oh
on
yeah.
Stadia,
I'm pretty sure that was I did something wrong with my controller issue.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I mean, there's plenty of comparison videos out there right now from lots of different groups comparing the graphics.
And they are putting out additional patches too. Ironically, with this game, they put out a patch for graphics that hit the Nintendo Switch 2 hours before the embargo lifted. So there was a bunch of people who had their actual videos ready, and they had to go back and change it based on graphics. So yeah, and there's another patch coming out in December 10th, I think they said too. So yeah.
Can we talk about one last thing about this, Justin? Can we talk about the massive price tag for the gold edition of the game?
Yeah.
$100.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's waiting for me at GameStop. I have to pick it up tomorrow.
I mean, and that's the all-in DLC pack. That's 3 DLCs available over the next
year or 6 months.
4 months.
4 months.
I think April. Nintendo eShop shows the last one being released April 10th.
Yep.
And 1 DLC pack that's available right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Tim, you obviously went in for that, so you think it's worth it. I'm not judging you. That sounded really judgy, but I didn't mean for it to be. It's obviously you think that's what made you want especially for a brand new IP to go all in on that.
The season pass I thought would help, and it sounds like the DLC is going to be pretty big coming in, so I figured why not just buy it up front. And I didn't play the demo. I didn't get a chance to play the demo. I already put in to buy the pre-order before I even downloaded the demo on Stadia. But just the video itself for the type of gameplay and the game mechanics of it intrigued me or interested me, and the story, it gave me that God of War feel back. I think before I mentioned kind of like I loved playing God of War on the PSP, so it gave me that kind of feel of that. Obviously a little bit, like you said, PG, more PG-13 than the God of War R rating that you would probably have. But that's the feel I got from it, especially with the game mechanics, where it looked like it could potentially be another hack and slash type game too, with what it does. So I'm excited to try to play it, and hopefully I'll be able to pick that up tomorrow. And but yeah, it's basically just to pay for the DLC and then get the extras that come with it, like the extra digital stuff.
I'm excited to hear your thoughts on it next week, Tim.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping to be able to jump into it. So.
Yep. Justin, I think you had a couple more games you've been playing.
No, that was it. Those were the big ones I wanted to talk about.
Awesome. Well, Tim, it's over to you then.
All right. Yeah. So, like I said, GameStop called me up today 3 times to say, hey, come pick up your game. They wanted me to come get it. And I was like, dude, I'm coming to get it tomorrow. But what I've been playing is I'll start off.
They need that real estate for those PS5s and Xboxes.
Yes. They need to move that gold edition out of there. So before I jump into the Nintendo Switch, I have been playing one game on Xbox xCloud. and that's Slay the Spire. I never got to play that game, so because it was on the Game Pass, I started that, and I can see why a lot of people like that game. It's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it because it's I like card based battle games, and it's very straightforward in what its presentation is basically you pick a character, at least what I played so far, and you got to get your way up through the path. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of the Street Pass game, the first Street Pass game of where you're the person going through the path. You're the me character going through the path to get different hats and stuff. Do you guys remember that? The Street Pass game?
Yeah.
That's what this game kind of reminded me of, because you had to pick your path where you're going to go, and then depending on your path, you would fight different things or access different treasures or things to help build up your character. So that aspect of it reminded me of that, which was pretty cool. But again, it's the card based. You get some cards and you build on your cards as you beat each part of that path. So you build up your deck. So I had a lot of fun. I keep thinking about that game, and I know it's a good game if I keep thinking about it after you're done playing it, right? So I want to get back to that, and I'm tempted, even though I'm playing this for free, and I have played a couple levels, to buy it for the Switch.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know it's on Switch because when I was on vacation, friends had it and they were playing it and they seemed to really enjoy it. But they were also huge fans of deck building games. This was right down their alley.
Yes, I like a good deck building game, and I'm a big Magic the Gathering fan. So, I used to play it a long time ago. I don't play as much anymore. So I like finding these type of games that kind of build on that. So no pun intended. So the Nintendo Switch games I've been playing, Boomerang Fu with my son, of course. He tries to play that with me as much as we can. And then more Animal Crossing New Horizons, especially with Turkey Day being done and now getting into the Toy Day stuff that they call it. Starting to collect some of those toys with our community. Lots of people trying to swap, hey, I got the blue tent, I'll trade you for the yellow tent, and all that kind of stuff. So that kind of thing going on in the community. Community is a lot of fun, so you can build up your inventory. And I'm just waiting for the Christmas stuff. I want to be able to decorate, get like I did for Halloween. I want to be able to do the same thing for Christmas. So I'm looking forward to that stuff.
It's a very cruel trick that they played on me the other day, that the very first day after Thanksgiving, it snowed in my town. And then I wasn't able to play for a couple days. I go back today and everything's still orange.
Yes.
Like, come on.
It's building up to, I think it's the 11th, somewhere around December 11th or something like that, I think is when it will start getting some more of the winter-esque stuff.
I really like the Halloween event because I think they got it out soon enough where like you could take your time and build up the decorations and everything, as far as like decorating your whole island with the jack-o'-lanterns and everything.
Yes.
But the Thanksgiving one was, I like the event itself, but I was disappointed that we didn't get all those Thanksgiving items, or that there wasn't more to that.
Yeah.
Like make all of those seasons, or make all of those holidays a big deal.
Yeah. Make them available right away so that you can decorate. And I want it to be able to decorate the whole island.
And that's the way I feel about
on
Christmas
December
right
1st.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've shown
but I can't yet.
These big light up trees and all kinds of other stuff. Where is that? I don't want to wait till the 11th. And
you don't want to time travel.
Yeah. No, I don't.
You don't want to be a time pirate.
No, I'm not a time pirate.
Time crimes.
Yes. All right. Let's see. Animal Crossing, Fortnite, a little bit more Fortnite. Obviously couldn't play when I missed out on going to see the live event. But my kids got to see it, so I went back and watched you guys do your thing. Justin and Marty, I watched that replay. So that was cool.
I wanted to mention I also watched that live stream, and when it hit that trench run, when the music changed, I'm like, that's going to get a copyright hit. And it did.
Yeah.
10 seconds. I had to silence 10 seconds of audio from that video, and it took YouTube over 8 hours to process it.
Of course.
Because they deprioritize live streams versus pre-recorded.
Oh, man. It was a cool scene, though. It was definitely cool. Very fitting. So I'm really excited about seeing the new stuff, especially what we talked about earlier. If Mandalorian's already got me excited, so I can't wait to be able to get some time to jump into there and do that. But for sure, if Samus comes out, if that's a thing, it's going to be over. So
That would actually get me to play a little bit of Fortnite, probably.
and because of Mandalorian, and it's unfair that the child isn't until you don't get that until level 100, I think. But it's making me want to possibly pay forward to get, to get that.
Oh, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
So
yeah, definitely.
We'll see. We'll see. Right now, like, it's a good thing I can't jump in it right now because I probably would have done it. So, a couple of games I got to play is a couple racing games. One that came out on the 27th and one that came out today. In fact, I think the one that came out today is just double check before I say it real quick. I have this up. It was Absolute Drift was the one that came out today. It's a racing top-down racing game, kind of that RC Pro-Am look, you know, when you're looking down at the type of thing. But the mechanic in this is to drift as much as possible, and you're trying to learn how to continually drift and how to basically get as close to walls or tag things while you're drifting, and be able to just take the corners really well at a fast pace and beat the times, and also there's tasks in there too. So you can get certain tasks like, you know, they call it clipping, where you can clip something like a pole or something, where you just clip it and that gives you points. And if you clip certain things so many times throughout your course, you get a check mark for that item. Or if you've drifted for more than 3 seconds, you know, you get a check mark for that box. So there's a lot of those elements in this game. Unfortunately, the controls are very touchy, and you gotta have either a good rhythm to what you're doing with the drifting, a steady hand, or just it's got to click, and it hasn't clicked for me yet on how to get that drifting going. Because when I was playing it, and I was doing a stream of this and the other one I'm about to talk about, of driving and trying to drift, I just could not find that sweet spot. There would be like a certain time, like a certain point where I felt like I was hitting it, but the courses are timed, so in certain spots. So, or you do 3 laps and then you're done. So as soon as I got the feel of the laps or the feel of the drift, it was like either the time was up or my lap was done. And it was like, okay, then I got taken out of that moment, and then I got put back in if I wanted to try to get some more tasks done, or objectives done, and then I just lost that feel. So it's very frustrating to me, and this is where Jesse was talking about how frustrating his game was. Picklock, it was like this game was frustrating me because I couldn't get that sense of drifting feel down, and I had to stop playing that game so during the stream. And so I was like, okay, I got to put this down. When I first started the stream, I actually started with this game, Electro Ride, which actually came out on the 27th. It's called Electro Ride the Neon Racing. It's a racing game that's kind of looks like, I think, was it called Party Crashers racing game, where it's got the neon cars and atmosphere, and but this is just straight up racing game, and it has some 80s synthesizer music, which is really cool. I really dig the music in the game. But again, the controls, I could not get the controls. This one frustrated me the most. This was the first game I played in the stream, and I think one guy built this game too, Sylvester Osick. So I give him all the credit in the world. You know, if you're one guy building a game, I give you all the credit in the world for building this. It's just the style of racing games that I play, like say Need for Speed, which was the last game I played after on the stream, because I was like, okay, I'm gonna play a game I'm more familiar with, which was Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered. I played that some more, which I really enjoyed. But the Electro Ride was just trying to get used to the controls. Now, in this game, its feature is not only aesthetic, but you pick a color, a neon color, and that color you have to drive through to get your boosts if you see it on the track. So the 3 colors are the neon blue, neon yellow, and neon pink, I think. So if you go, you can change your colors through the track by going through color stars on the track. So you could, if you go through one of those colors, that's the stripe you need to hit in order to hit the boost and in order to win the course. No problem with that. I know there's a few games. I think even was it Fast RMX did that? Had where it went through the colors, and that's if you got the right color, then you went through and went faster. But anyways, this game is you go through that color on the track and you went faster. The only problem with this was, as soon as you hit that color, if you hit the steering wheel at all, you lose control. You're off the track because you hit the wheel a certain way. You're off the track, or you're spinning out of control, or you're heading towards a turn and you can't get the drift yet. And I couldn't even figure out the drift in that game, because if I hit the brake, it was like nothing was drifting. So I don't know if it was because of the car or whatever, but it was very frustrating to try to figure that one out. And so that's when I, we jumped into Absolute Drift, tried that out and got frustrated, and then jumped into Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit remastered for the Switch. And that one I really enjoyed and made up for my frustrations for the other 2 racing games. But I know a few people in our chat asked a couple times, because EA brought out both Burnout Paradise City and Need for Speed for the Switch, and they asked which one would you get over the other if you could only pick one. And I think when those games originally came out, I probably would have picked Burnout Paradise City. But now that they're remastered and out for the Switch, I actually prefer Need for Speed Hot Pursuit because of the ability to jump into a race, get it done, and jump back out in the overworld world and then pick another race. Whereas in Paradise City, Hot Pursuit, or I even think I can't think of the other Need for Speed games where they're more open world, driving around and you go through and you hit a stoplight and then you pick, you're doing that race. It's a little overwhelming at times. So I do like the aspect of being able to pick your races in the Hot Pursuit version of it. So
nice.
Those are the games I've been playing.
Cool.
Awesome. I'm just going to talk about one game here because everybody has covered all the games. I've been playing Fortnite, been playing Immortals, been playing Age of Calamity. I've also been playing, actually I'll just talk about 2. And this one just to mention it because I think it's brilliant. I think a lot of people may have missed it by this point, and I think you need to go back and pick it up. And Tim, your mention of card-based games got me thinking about this one. I recently realized I had never finished Steam World Quest by Image and Form, and I love this game. I am working my way through it. I'm now farther than I was. I went back and restarted it, and so now I'm farther than I was in the beginning, and I'm really, really, really enjoying it. It's got some really snappy, smart writing, and once you really begin to understand how the card mechanic works, as well as stacking attacks for different characters to get bonuses, the game really sings. And
I think that was one of my top games last year.
Yeah. It's how many chapters are there, by the way?
I don't remember.
I think I'm on chapter 6 or 7 now. I feel like I'm.
You might be near the end then, because I don't think there was that much more than that.
It's like all of the Steam World games. It's just
been like a year and a half since I played that game.
And I think you go back and look at maybe one of those games that's on sale right now. It's definitely worth a pickup. But I've also been playing, and we got a code for this. I've been playing John Wick Hex. And by playing, I mean I played it one time for 30 minutes and I've not booted it up again because I got so frustrated. I wanted to snap my Switch in half.
The game played you?
Yes.
Ooh, that's not a good. That's not a
This
good.
is Justin and I had a little chat about this earlier, and he said he laughed when I asked for it because it did not seem like a game that would be up my alley. I'm going to just be honest about it. I thought it was an entirely different type of game than it is.
When you describe the type of game in Discord, Tim goes, "That sounds like a Jesse game." I'm like, maybe it's kind of mixing genres that I do and don't like.
So number one thing that you need to know about this game, if you're picking it up, is it is absolutely not kid friendly.
it's
It
John
is
Wick.
a John Wick.
Yeah, if at any
game.
point you thought John Wick was
Yeah.
kid friendly, we have
Yeah.
a different conversation.
Yeah, but that warning is out there. Language warning, lots of death. You do play as John Wick, but you do it from kind of what we've already mentioned, like an isometric view, kind of overhead, kind of 2.5D ish. And you are making your way through a chapter in his life by moving him almost like a board game piece. And everything you do, which from the very beginning, guys, there's no tutorial, and they overwhelm you with these huge menus full of options for you to do.
Oh,
you
that's
can
not a
walk,
good way to go.
You can run, you can hide, you can take somebody down with a fist, you can shoot them, you can slide, you can and every one of these options has a time that it takes to complete. At the top of the screen is a giant meter with all that's going on in real time. And when you add actions to it, it begins to change and stack up, showing when your actions will occur versus enemy actions. So it ends up being this completely analytical, strategic game that I think whiffs on capturing the spirit of John Wick. And that's like, I thought that I was getting at the most, like I had seen pictures and of the game and actual gameplay of it. I thought I was getting a game like what was it? It came out on the iPad a few years ago. Was it Hitman Go?
Oh yeah,
And Tomb Raider Go, or Lara Croft Go, I think is what it was called, where like you would move and you would have to like sneak up behind people and assassinate them and do things like that. That's what I thought this game was. But I'm sure there are people out there who are really into this, but y'all, it really feels like, this is the only way I know to describe it. It feels like a John Wick simulator.
Oh God.
And that and that property do not work well together for me. If you want to see it in action, I'm going to have a video up on the channel this weekend. Just go over to youtube.com/Nintendo Dads, and you can share in some misery with me. I don't now that being said, I don't think that makes this a bad game. There's obviously a lot
It's just
of
not the
love
game you wanted.
or the source material. It just doesn't land right with me. Okay.
And that's okay.
And it is okay.
It happens.
I mean, there's I'm not going to give it a bad review based on that fact.
Right.
I wanted something different.
Yeah, it's the same with the racing games. Is it just didn't land right with me? I just me as a player couldn't figure out the controls of those games. So
So Keanu Reeves is in 2 games in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and this has already been out on other platforms, I think on Steam and other places for months already. So most people already, if they've wanted to know about it, they know it. They know what to expect. I just thought John Wick, pew pew, lots of Russians dying. Not that there's anything wrong with Russians, just saying.
Well, there goes our Russian fan base now. Jeez.
But anyway, that's it's just not for me. It may be for you though.
Going back to SteamWorld real quick, Mecca answered the question of how many chapters are in it, and I verified it. 19, so I guess you got a while to go.
that's crazy.
Oh my gosh, I thought like I'm so close to finishing this game. Nope.
And by the way, if you're a Pro Stadia member, you get that game for free.
Oh, and since Tim talked about a Nintendo game, I'm talking about it too. I played through and beat Spider-Man Miles Morales in about 5 days.
Nice.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And there's a lot of different like little bitty changes between it and the original that just are kind of enhance the like a user experience, I guess.
Yeah.
But even if you don't have a PS5, pick this up on PS4. If you have one, you owe it to yourself. It's fantastic, y'all.
Somebody's getting that for Christmas.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, okay. Tim's getting that for Christmas.
I'll try to act surprised when I open it. Thanks, Tim.
Guys, that's what we've been playing. Let's turn on the community spotlight real quick.
Yes, before Derek falls asleep.
Derek, for our listeners who maybe aren't familiar with you, or your past work, or what you're doing right now, we just want to take a minute for you to just kind of highlight where you are, what you're up to, where people can find and interact with you, maybe projects you have on the horizon you're excited about, anything. This is basically your chance to turn this into Good Vibe Gaming Dads. All right? Have at it.
All right. I am Derek Brenner, of course. Formerly of Game Explain, was there for quite a while, but decided to strike out on my own along with Ash Paulson and Steve Bowling, and we crafted Good Vibes Gaming together, which basically just gives us the freedom to do the projects we wanted to do and not be so tied down to schedules. One of the big things we're doing as part of that is a show called Today's News Tonight that we stream to our patrons and then goes up the following morning. We're trying to go for the night, but it just takes a little too much editing so we couldn't get it up on time. We were doing that 5 days a week, but I think starting next week, it's just we're going to cut it down to 3 days a week. Just because, one, news has been really light. It's that time of year where news does get light. And two, we want time to get our other projects done. Like we have feature ideas, we have reviews that we want to get done, and just try to expand more upon the channel than just a weekly weeknight news show. Try to move beyond that. And I think that's the thing that Good Vibes is really going all about. We want to be as inclusive as possible, really highlight voices that you might not hear normally, and just expand upon that, really show what this community is capable of, and just, spread good vibes, I guess. But the personal projects I'm working on is Age of Calamity review. I want to work on a review, or at least some kind of highlight of Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light, I think that's what the full title is. And after that, there's a feature series I want to try to start working on that I've had in my head for a while, that I want to start trying to make that happen. It's just not going as fast as I would before, because Kai son needs taken care of, and that's fine. I'm just taking my time on that and just prioritizing what I need to. But yeah, we're just sort of getting our footing out there. You can find us at Good Vibes Gaming. We have our own Patreon at GV Gaming if you ever want to watch those news streams live yourself. We have a pre-show and post-show for everybody. And
I'm a member there.
Oh, nice. I think it's a lot of fun, and I'm pretty proud of what we've accomplished so far. I'm looking forward to just expanding and growing and getting those other ideas out there as time goes on.
Nice. Do you mind me asking, what's been like the biggest kind of, I don't want to say necessarily aha moment, but maybe challenge that you have been facing as you kind of move out and branch onto your kind of your own platform? Because I think of, having been with Game Explain as long as you have, right? And then kind of to your point, getting to your own work now, is there any challenges or anything that you've been facing with that, or what's that been like?
It's weird because it's so hard to truly compare them at this point, just because it has been so baby focused at the same time. So sure. I can't just do that. Like I don't know what I'd be capable of putting out there, sans baby. Not that I want to think about that, because love having the baby. But the biggest adjustment, I guess, has been, I was being part of Game Explain. That was a sizable channel. It's funny to go back. It's interesting to go back to where you put out a video and like, by this point I'd have this many thousand views, and we're up to this point. So it's sort of readjusting the expectations on there. And that's a bad thing. It's just one of those things that you have to kind of put your head around.
Sure.
And
yeah, we put out a video and we're counting it in terms of tens of views.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you just got to adjust your thought process and what you're thinking of. But I think it's, the biggest challenge, of course, is just figuring out what works, what doesn't, just knowing when to adjust and trying to find a nice balance for everyone. And it's the growing pains that we're going through right now, and just figuring out what works best for us. And I think we'll eventually get there where it feels good.
That's great.
I mean, it feels good now, but it just nice, well-oiled machine, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, there's a lot of growing pains around those things, right? And even working, you've worked with Ash and Steve for a long time, right? But now it's kind of a different lens, right? And there's different perspectives on it as well. So that's great.
Yeah.
And you guys, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, it's just interesting, especially with things happen, and I don't have to immediately jump into a news update or stuff like that. I can take my time and not have to worry about keeping an eye on things.
Yeah.
Essentially 24/7.
Yeah. Was that, and you don't have to as well, but like, is that one of the things that you've, really kind of drew you to this, to doing kind of your own pieces, as obviously your life was changing. And this kind of allowed for a little bit of different flexibility or different, lifestyle, I guess maybe we're squaring up there.
Yeah, it was really easy to just get I've spoken about this before, where you so worried about missing news that you're afraid to go out and do things, and this allows me to not have to be as concerned about that. I don't have to worry about new trailer came out, re-upload it and get on it right away. I can sort of decide what interests me and go from there, like I did, because I wasn't planning to do analysis like videos for the channel, but then Neo, The World Ends With You was announced. It's like, you know what? I kind of dig this. I want to show more about it. So it's just sort of nice to be able to do whatever I want.
That's fantastic. And you guys have guests on every couple times as well. I was catching a couple episodes. Always sound good. Great as well to hear that.
Yeah, we've been trying to branch out, whether it's big names or small names. We just want to highlight just a wide variety of people and from all backgrounds. It's really cool to have and show what, granted we're three white guys, but we want to try to highlight the minor voices out there and get them promoted.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, Derek, here's the deal. We want to thank you for joining us on the show tonight.
Of course.
And because you are in the unique situation of being a brand new dad, if you need to cut out and head to bed and get some much needed sleep, then we want you to do that. But if you want to stick around for our Q&A time, you can do that as well. The problem is a lot of times we don't know how late that's going to run.
I'm considering it's almost 1 o'clock for me here. I'm probably going to cut and run. I appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun, though.
Well,
great.
We really appreciate your time, especially you being in that new dad position. And we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
In that. It is truly an awesome time that you're in, and we got to see on the pre-show some baby time there, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you go get some rest. We wish you and the guys over at Good Vibes a ton of success, and we are interested to see what the future holds for you guys and everything. And like I said, just thanks for taking some time for the Nintendo Dads tonight.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
It was a lot of fun.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you guys, and it's interesting. The last time I was here, I was not a dad. Now I'm a dad. So.
There you
Life,
go.
Amazing how that works.
Yeah, funny that.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you again sometime.
Yeah, get some rest.
Absolutely. You guys take care.
You too. Take care.
Thanks.
Good night.
Bye.
All right, guys. Well, as he is clicking out there, let's run over here and hit some questions as we round out the show. Eric Plunk asked us about Game Boy games rumored to be coming to Nintendo Switch Online. I think we've already kind of covered that. I think that would be fantastic. I think that's one of those things that, for a while, the Game Boy Classic was talked about. You don't need a Game Boy Classic if you just bring them to the Switch.
Correct.
There you go. Jesus Amata says this. He says, and we didn't touch on this, so I'm glad that he asked this. He said, I was seriously excited about Super Nintendo World and was making plans to go to Japan and visit that and the Olympics. COVID had other plans. Oh, well, I'm excited for it to open. And by the way, as you guys are hearing this, February 4th, 2021 is the set date for Super Nintendo World to open in Japan, not in the US, just Japan. He says, and more, that we're going to have one in the US too. Are you dads excited for it? Do you have any plans or desires to visit the theme park when it does open / COVID goes away? Have a great show.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so the pictures are out there that you can go and look up right now of a general view of Super Nintendo Land. the very first ride, the Mario Kart experience, as well as the trophies, and a giant stone Bowser statue. They're all part of that. Super cool looking. Justin, what were you going to say there?
Yeah, I actually had plans to go to Japan this February. We as the larger family, we had everything tucked away, and our intent was to go in February to be there for the event, and unfortunately, we weren't able to. So that was actually going to be our February family holiday. So it was very disappointing, but sure, that's kind of the way life is sometimes, right? So outside of our control. But when it does reopen, we definitely intend on going.
Awesome. Yeah, so it's there. Tim, Jesse, any future interest in doing this when it comes stateside?
I'm not a theme park fan. It's, mostly lines and spending 5 times as much for food and drink than you should. Though I'll probably want to go once just to say that I've done it, but I'll likely wouldn't go more than that. Like I did Universal Studios for my honeymoon, and I've done a few smaller ones over the years. But I haven't really done any theme parks, since my honeymoon, like 12 years ago.
Yep. And for us, I talked about this with my wife. I said, she knows I'm very interested in both going to Japan, because that's on my wish list of trips to do, is to go to Japan. It's like, and I've heard somebody else mention, it's like the Mecca, for us video game fans. You got to go to Japan, right? So I want to do that. But now with this added to it, I said with her kind of half jokingly, just kind of, I guess, how you joke with your wife, just to kind of feel her out and understand, yeah, I'm kind of joking, but if you're not laughing and you like the idea, then I'm serious, So I was like, maybe for our 25th anniversary, we could go to Japan, because that'll give it some time. Hopefully we won't have no more COVID, because our 25th is in 2026.
Oh, okay.
So it'll give it some time. Hopefully it won't be as busy as being, because it's not so new. And since the U.S. will probably be newer by that time, if it opens by that time, going to Japan would probably be better. So that's my hope. I'm gonna keep poking at that one. Maybe
Yeah, I think it's 2022, 2023.
Yeah.
When they're looking at the U.S. one open.
Okay.
So
Japan is my bucket list travel as well. Yeah. I have flown out of country when I was like in high school, and haven't since. And and my wife and I have talked about this before, so she knows that that's kind of, I don't like travel, but I will be willing to travel there. And like her bucket list trip, she likes to do cruises, and so she hasn't done one since she was in high school.
Right.
And knowing I don't like humidity and heat, she's thinking maybe like Alaskan cruise.
There you go.
So those are our long-term bucket list trips.
There's definitely interest in whether it be the Japan one or the U.S. one if it ever opens.
I was told back in 2010 after an international flight that I can never fly internationally again due to a blood clot.
Oh man,
hit my lungs. So I will not be going to Nintendo World in Japan. When it does open here, that's like the trip. I will be like a kid in a candy store. So yeah, definitely want to do that.
Well, we're just gonna do DadCon there, right?
That's it. We'll book a room, and all of you guys paying to come to DadCon will pay for us to go to Super Nintendo World.
Right.
So I mean, that's how it works, right? So yeah. Do we have any questions over on Twitter, guys? I think I saw one.
I think I saw one, but it was something we were going to cover on news anyway, so I didn't write it down.
Right. I just want to be sure that we're getting everybody because, hey, let's see here.
Well, while you're looking that up, do you want him to play the voicemail?
Yeah, let's do that.
Do it.
This is from Bruce Patterson.
If Nintendo started making beer, what flavors would they be? Like, for instance, Donkey Kong, would that be a brown ale? What are your thoughts?
Wow.
This may have come off the fact that I'm doing a beer advent calendar, and I've been posting about it on social media. My initial thoughts here, Bruce. First, great question. Second, I think Link's Pale Ale would be appropriate. I think Samus would have like a blood orange kind of beer associated with it. What else?
Say for Link's drink is like normally like milk and things like that, but I don't think you can turn milk into an alcohol without it going bad, can you?
No, and he did say beers specifically. I definitely think Donkey Kong would be like an oatmeal stout, like kind of a real thick kind of product. That's a great question though. What else do you guys think?
I'm not a beer person, so I don't even know like half of what you're even talking about.
All right, Justin, here's a couple thoughts I have. So
Yep.
I don't drink beer too often either, but I do like to try them still, to try to find my the one that I do like.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm stuck on trying to figure out a couple of things. One is hard ciders considered anything along those lines?
It can be. I have no issues with that. Sure.
Who would fit in that bill? Who would fit in a hard cider type bill? And then two, what would Kirby be?
Anything it consumes.
Oh yeah.
What kind of beer would Kirby be?
What kind of beer would Kirby be? Kirby would be.
He would be the flavor of the season.
I think so.
Kirby would be the deepest, darkest, because of the deep Kirby lore.
Okay.
Yeah.
But cake flavored.
Cake flavored.
What would Kirby be? Kirby would be. Yeah, oh my gosh, that's a great question. I don't know.
He'd just be seasonal. He's a seasonal beer.
Yeah, I'd have to go with that one.
Because he could be whatever.
Yeah, I think you're like hard cider. I think like Luigi's a hard cider kind of guy.
Oh yeah, that's a good thought.
Do you know what I mean? Like a hard pear cider.
Okay.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
And that
there.
would mean that Waluigi is non-alcoholic beer.
Correct. Because he is
laughs.
no fun. Yeah, exactly.
It's not that he's no fun.
He's no fun.
Well,
we got a little breaking news here.
What's that?
Nintendo just sent a tweet which includes a YouTube video that has been removed by the uploader, and a link to an atlas.com page where the site isn't yet live, but it says Persona 5 Strikers, name change, will be coming to Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Steam on February 23rd.
Obviously, that was not meant to go out yet.
Right. So, breaking news. Literally.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Okay.
That makes sense.
Cool.
That'd be good timing.
And I had that as we heard a rumor of it being listed from Asian retailers being released in English for that same date, but this is now more confirmation that that's likely true.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Persona 5 Strikers or whatever that game, the Persona 5.
It was Scramble, now it's Strikers.
Okay.
Wario 64 is also picked up on it, so
Yeah.
it's for sure. Yeah,
I
and
am
hopefully
looking forward to
I wonder if that means that we'll get Persona 5 for Switch around that time or right before as well.
I hope so. I hope to be royal and not vanilla because I already bought and played vanilla. When I can get a PS5, I'll get a digital copy of it for free because that's part of their deal, and which I won't play. And I don't want it on the Switch version for a version that I won't play. I want a new version that I want to play.
Right.
Well, there you go. So, guys, I believe, if I'm not incorrect, that is episode 307 of Nintendo Dads. We want to thank you for hanging out with us, as well as Derek Bittner from Good Vibe Gaming for hanging out with us. And you guys go over there and check him and their channel out. Lots of cool stuff happening over there. Love the fact that he was talking about elevating all kinds of different voices, big and small, whatever walks of life, and just spreading the good vibes that surround our favorite hobby. We want to say a huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Chris Mears, Dave Ernsberger, and Antonio Contronio. Thank you guys for backing us at the $30 Patreon producer level. And if you want to be a patron of the show, you can head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads for all of the details. Pick your favorite tier, $1, $5, $10, $30. Come and help us create this wonderful community that we've got. You can head over to nintendodads.org as well for all kinds of things like links to our socials, all of our videos, tweets, and podcast episodes, and a way to get to our TeePublic store where you can buy t-shirts. And right now, t-shirts and all kinds of stuff is on sale, guys. They are offering the discount, not us. So we still get all the money. We can still get all your support if you go over and buy something. But you get a sweet discount, and you can go over to our page and find that as well. Also, you can email us at nintendodads@gmail.com or call in and leave a voicemail just like Bruce at 929-25-NDADS. That's 929-256-3237. Big thanks to OC Remix for the music used throughout the show. And a reminder, go download us on your favorite podcast app of choice, but be sure to review us. Write a 5-star review or give us a 5-star review. Give us a good written review so other people can find the show. Last time I checked, we were 7th in Nintendo podcasts in the United States.
Darn right we were.
Cool. And everywhere else doesn't matter because USA.
Well, I think we were higher ranked in Canada. I don't know.
We are higher ranked in Canada, but that's because there's just not as many Nintendo podcasts up there. Right?
I'm gonna let that one be. Gonna let that be. Just gonna let it be.
It's actually,
I'm confused at the logic of this, but okay.
It's actually because we're super high quality, and it's because people just love Justin Masson.
That's exactly it. You know,
He's a
I
household
appreciate
name.
that. Over
He's a
here,
household name.
I'm a national. I'm a treasure. You know what I'm saying? A national treasure.
Well, for Justin, for Tim, for Jesse, and me, this has been episode 307 of Nintendo Dads. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We're listening into Nintendo Dads.
Maple syrup mousses.